What's up everyone, welcome back to a new scenario. A while back I did a scenario about Goku being the legendary Super Saiyan, and it's been long enough. I think this series deserves a remake, but this time we're doing something different. Instead of Goku being the legendary Super Saiyan, he's gonna be like Super Broly instead. It feels more fitting for him too. So he's born with mutated power, and grows excessively from rage. How will this affect the story? Let's begin covering what if Goku was like Broly. Kakarot is born, and as a low-class warrior, he seems pretty weak, but his parents notice something weird about him. Occasionally his power level does fluctuate, like a lot. Thankfully with him being a low-class Saiyan, King Vegeta doesn't find out about this. No one does in fact. Bardock and Gine think it's just a fluke. Maybe the power level being scanned is wrong, but it would be pretty great if he actually did have that type of power. Just like normal, Kakarot is eventually sent to Earth. Not much changes about him right away, his power only flares up occasionally. Usually he seems like a normal low-class Saiyan. Grandpa Gohan finds Kakarot and notices these weird things too. He gives Kakarot the name Goku, and notices some occasional flare-ups in his power, like his ki randomly going really high. Eventually he does drop Goku. He loses his memories and all. Obviously he didn't expect this to happen, so he wasn't powered up and on guard. This affects him the same way it normally did. Goku eventually does recover, and Gohan can see that he is exceptionally powerful. It's almost scary. At some points during training, Goku shows a little bit of anger, but it's hard to bring it out. And when he does, his power skyrockets, but he is able to get it under control, thanks to Gohan being able to calm him down. But one day Earth is almost destroyed. Goku goes outside during a full moon and turns into a great ape. Gohan tries to calm him down, but he can't do anything. He's never seen this happen before. He desperately tries everything he can, but nothing is of use. Goku ends up killing him in the rampage. And then he starts shooting blasts from his mouth. The entire area is scorched. As a great ape, he's enraged, and he has the power boost too. He has the potential to destroy Earth, maybe even more than that. But thankfully amidst his rampage, Goku launches a blast at the moon, instantly destroying it, causing him to de-transform. Had he rampaged any longer, Earth would have been gone. Now we skip forward a bit and we kind of fast forward through things. Goku's had a pretty similar upbringing, and he isn't affected much. Yes, he gets strong when angry, but nothing really makes him angry at this point. He's still very easygoing, and of course he's a nice kid. He eventually meets Bulma and Orochi too. All his fights are easier, but nothing radically changes, besides things being faster. He and Bulma go on their journey and face even less threats. He meets the same people too. Oolong, Yamcha, Chi-Chi, the Pilaf gang, everybody. And the Pilaf gang can't really capture him either. Even though his strength only gets excessive when he's really mad, still he is really strong by default. And he ends up training under Roshi, especially because Roshi wants to see what he's capable of. And of course he meets Krillin eventually too. Roshi wonders if he can get that power under control. And Goku's training goes pretty well, and we get to the 21st World Tournament. Thankfully there's no full moon here because there's no moon. Otherwise everyone at the tournament would be dead pretty much instantly. The tournament's actually pretty peaceful, and the final fight is Goku versus Jackie Chan. And Goku ends up winning this. His increase in strength helps him be above Roshi even with his lack of skill. But this worries Roshi because he wanted to teach Goku a lesson here. Sure, it's great that he beat his master, but even though he's a good kid, this might also make him think he's infallible, and he might very well be infallible. He can't learn this crucial lesson if no one could defeat him. But like I said, he's still pure-hearted, he's still Goku. Roshi hopes this won't affect him too much. Only time will tell, and he'll have to try and teach Goku this lesson some other way. Maybe he'll actually have to tell him instead of showing him. When the Red Ribbon Army pops up, they're not really a big threat for Goku. Actually, they're barely a threat at all. Bora almost gets killed, and Goku almost gets angry from that. But thankfully Goku's able to stop it. Had Bora actually died there, Goku would have been enraged and his power would have skyrocketed, which would be really bad because no one could stop him at this point. This leads to Goku fighting the entire Red Ribbon Army, and this is a nice test of power for him. With Roshi's help, he's been able to control his power more. Thankfully he hasn't really experienced any weird spikes in that power, but he knows they're there. But it's not like he really needs them anyways. Against the Red Ribbon Army, it's pretty easy for him. He destroys them with pretty much no effort. Like, the entire army. They all come at him, and they can't really do anything. Of course, this leaves his friends shocked, but they're not really too surprised by it. Destroying an entire army is crazy, but they also know Goku's strength is crazy. They've never seen it on display like this, though. They're lucky that he's good because look at that power, he's a killing machine. Had he not hit his head, everyone on Earth might be dead by now. Or at the very best, he would have taken over this planet. Nobody knows he's a Saiyan yet, though. The less they know, the better. Goku gains a reputation too. He won a world tournament that young, and then just defeated the entire Red Ribbon Army on his own. He's revered as the strongest person on the planet, essentially. His next step is going to Korin to train. And Korin is able to teach some things, but Goku breezes through a lot of the training, and he even gets to drink the ultra-refined water early on, getting a boost in power from that too. Although it's a bit terrifying for Korin to watch because, while Goku suffers the effects of the water, Korin can feel his power spike, and it's a little scary. But thankfully he doesn't lose control, so Korin decides to teach him how to use that power. Roshi's taught him some great things too, but Goku needs more work on that. That power is there, and they've never trained with it. They really need to tame it because in case it does get unleashed, Goku won't be able to control it. Plus, if Goku can tame it, it'll help him in every other aspect because he could use that power to its fullest. It won't be locked away by anger. So he continues that type of training under Korin. eventually going back to Master Roshi, and after some time another tournament rolls around, the 22nd World Tournament. This time the Crane School's there, so Goku's gonna have to face them. The finals match ends up being Goku versus Ten Shinhan. And Ten's a great warrior, but he can't really do anything against Goku here. Besides him being stronger by default, at this point, he has somewhat of a control on that power that's been locked away. He tries to utilize it during fights, and it's tough, but he brings out a little bit of it. It's not like he needs it though. He defeats Ten and wins the tournament pretty easily. Ten really needs to find a way to surpass him. He doesn't know why Goku's that strong, but maybe it's something he could attain if he puts his mind to it. Goku's already setting records. This is the second win he's gotten, in a row actually. He still can't be defeated. He's going to be hailed as world champion. Roshi is still a bit concerned because he's not facing any real challenge here. And you can tell Goku gets a bit cocky during fights because of that. It really does worry him. But then, the worst happens. Krillin is attacked by Tambourine and killed. The person to find him is Goku. For the first time in a while, he feels an immense, uncontrollable rage. The building he's in begins shaking. The entire arena begins shaking. Roshi can sense Goku's ki, and knows something bad's about to happen. Quickly, he and the others run over to Goku, and they see him standing there with Krillin's corpse. As they enter the room, Goku's aura flares up. It's so powerful that it destroys the entire building, knocking them all away. It almost looks like his hair is flashing golden for a second, and there are points where his aura turns golden too. But Goku's trying his best to keep it together. Thanks to his training, he doesn't completely lose control. Had it not been for that, he would have turned Super Saiyan right here and now. He would have been completely uncontrolled and everything would have been destroyed. But he somewhat controls his anger. His hair stands up and it stops flashing golden. He's somewhat lost control of himself, but not completely. For a second, Roshi could see the transformation, as Goku turns around and then launches away. Besides his hair standing up, his eyes are now yellow. His aura is green and golden. Goku is utilizing the power of Great Ape in his humanoid form. Even without the full moon being there, he's using that power now. Manifested from his immense rage. This is his wrathful form. As he flies into the air, he can see Tambourine escaping. Instantly he flies over to Tambourine and flies right through him, then turning back and destroying him with a ki blast. And he grabs the thing that Tambourine is holding. It's a list of the World Tournament contenders. And then Goku looks down and realizes he's flying. He thought he called Nimbus, but no, he instinctively started flying up here. It's not like he needs Nimbus right now, but if he did, in this state he couldn't use Nimbus. And Goku could sense someone else approaching, another one of King Piccolo's sons. Symbol flies over. Goku realizes there's more of them. Someone commanded them to do this. Thankfully he's somewhat coherent, which makes him realize that, otherwise he would have been rampaging mindlessly. He pretty quickly kills Symbol. And of course King Piccolo's not going to let this happen. His ship goes over to where Goku is, watching Goku defeat Drum in the process too. He really has no choice, unfortunately. Even without his youth, he's going to have to fight Goku, but he's confident in his power. This kid seems powerful, but it can't be that crazy. Although, as Piccolo gets closer, he realizes it is that crazy. This leads to a death match between him and Goku, although it's really one-sided. Goku quickly launches a Kamehameha at him, destroying him completely. The Pilaf gang is barely able to make it out of there by taking King Piccolo's ship and leaving, thankfully without Goku noticing. Roshi and the others come over. Ten arrives too at Chaozu. He doesn't know what's going on, but he sensed that power flare up, and recognized that it was Goku. They call out to him trying to get him to power down, and Goku lands on the ground nearby. He still is somewhat in control, but also is losing his grip. So he can understand what's going on, but not completely. Once more remembering that Krillin is dead, his power flares up again, and they see his hair briefly turn golden once more. But then his hair falls down. He collapses to the ground, unconscious. He wakes up a few hours later, and Roshi's glad that he's okay. He's never seen that form before. And Goku's holding on to something. It's a round stone. This is actually his 4-star Dragon Ball, but he doesn't realize it. Nobody knows what happened. Why is this Dragon Ball stone now? Roshi at least knows who attacked. It's probably King Piccolo who came back. And it looks like Goku easily killed him. Bulma has her radar and she can't find any of the Dragon Balls either. What they don't realize is that by killing Piccolo, Goku also killed Kami. There's no more Dragon Balls. Goku eventually finds this out because he goes to Korin, asking what happened to the Dragon Balls. And this just makes Goku feel worse. His power is dangerous, and he's responsible for this. Had he actually had a level head, he could have won there, and he wouldn't have gotten rid of the Dragon Balls in the process. He thinks he's the reason the Dragon Balls are gone. And because of that, he can't bring back Krillin. He's dead for good. Korin's not really sure what to do next, but he thinks it might be best for Goku to go up to the lookout. That's where Kami used to be. So Goku goes up there, and he meets Mr. Popo, the only person still on the lookout. He knows Goku didn't mean to do that, and in the process he did get rid of King Piccolo after all. Kami's gone, but Goku helped save everything else. And Popo wonders if there's a way to bring back Kami and the Dragon Balls. Obviously Goku wants to do this. Not only does he want Krillin back, but he feels bad that he killed Kami on accident. He needs to correct this in whatever way he can. Popo doesn't know much of Kami's origin, but maybe that's where they should start. Kami's told him a little bit of what happened when he got here, but Kami doesn't remember anything from his past life. What he does know is Kami actually has a ship somewhere. Possibly he's not from this planet. They find a ship and try and put the pieces together of what Kami's past was like. But they can't really do much from this. Goku still has some hope though. Maybe there is another set of Dragon Balls out there somewhere. Or at the very least, they could find out how to make the Dragon Balls like Kami did. That's why they're looking at his origin. The others end up helping too: Roshi, Bulma, Yamcha, even Ten. After seeing Goku's power, Ten has vowed to surpass him. He's inclined to help out because he wants to see more of what Goku's capable of. He's not fully on their side just yet, but he wants to stick around for a bit. But amidst this search, someone then speaks to them. Telepathically, actually. He introduces himself as King Kai. He's doing this for two reasons. One, he pretty quickly got news of Kami's death, so he started to observe Earth to see what happened. The second reason is because when he observed Earth, he felt Goku's immense power, and it could put the planet at risk. Possibly even more than that. So he's going to offer help here. And he does something rare, in order to preserve the safety of everything. He wants to help Goku tame his power, so it doesn't explode and destroy everything. And he'll also help them get to Namek, which they don't know about. He tells them that's the planet where Kami's from, at least where his former self is from. They'll learn more about his history soon, but for now, he wants to make an agreement with Goku. He'll help them find Namek if Goku comes to his planet to train. Assuming he can make it across Snake Way, that is. But Goku has to promise to come here and tame that power. That's the price for helping them get the Dragon Balls. And Goku accepts without hesitation. It's a win-win-win. He brings the Dragon Balls back, he gets to train more, and he gets to tame his power. Of course he's going to say yes to this. And even if he didn't get to train or get to tame his power, he still would have done this anyways. It helps him bring his friend back, and it lets him correct the mistakes he made. So, very early on, a trip to planet Namek is planned. The group is a bit worried though, because if Goku's power flares up while they're in space, they're really going to be screwed. That King Kai guy seems like he knows what he's doing though, and he seems trustworthy. And with Bulma's help, they can start working on a ship to Namek. They're going to use Kami's old ship, and she'll try to upgrade it to the best of her abilities. It might not be as fast as it could possibly be, but she thinks she could work with this, and now that King Kai gave her the coordinates of Namek, they'll be good to go. Bulma eventually finishes working on the ship to get them to Namek, and it's a very different crew this time. Of course Goku and Bulma are going, but Roshi decides to tag along too, and same for Ten. Just in case something happens with Goku, they're probably the best chance at stopping it even though they can't really do anything against him. Still, better to at least have something. Thankfully the trip goes pretty smoothly. They arrive on the planet a few days later, and begin the search for the Dragon Balls, which isn't too hard with their Dragon Ball radar. They're able to collect the Dragon Balls and eventually go to Guru for the last one. To make sure they're worthy, Guru decides to look into their minds, and he sees exactly what they're trying to wish for. There is one issue: Purunga can only revive one person at a time. But thankfully he also has 3 wishes, and they're only reviving 2 people. So there will be a separate wish for Kami and a separate wish for Krillin. With the 3rd wish, King Kai has a request too. But before they make the wish, Guru decides to look into Goku's heart and mind more. And he can feel a deep power within him. He's a pure-hearted kid, but at the same time, he's harboring something crazy inside of him. It's really unlike anything Guru has ever sensed before. The Dragon Balls are gathered, and they summon Purunga. 3 wishes are made. First, revive Krillin. Second, this is King Kai's request: wish to combine the 2 souls of Kami and Piccolo. King Kai isn't sure that it'll work, but it ends up working perfectly fine. Purunga says he has the power to do this, partially thanks to King Piccolo being so weak here, he never got his youth back. Plus, he's dead, and it's just his soul. Thankfully, King Yama actually held on to it, and he doesn't have his body, so it's not like Piccolo could do anything anyways. And I have a feeling Purunga might actually be strong enough to pull off something like this. It might be a bit of a stretch, but I still feel it's reasonable, especially with the circumstances around Piccolo. This combines the 2 of them back together, but with Kami being the dominant one. And the 3rd wish is to actually revive Kami. King Kai requested this because by doing so, Kami can be brought back without Piccolo being brought back too, and it finally assimilates the 2 back together. So it does make Kami stronger, but it's not like he's going to get his youth too. Still, his power increased dramatically. It's great that everything went so smoothly, because now they could just go back to Earth as is. The first thing Goku does is reunite with Krillin. He's glad to finally see him again. It has been kind of a while since they had to prepare the ship and everything, but still, better late than never. He's just glad Krillin's back. He also does get to meet Kami too, with Kami thanking him. It's not his fault because he didn't know anything about Kami in the first place. He wouldn't have known killing Piccolo would kill him, and he fixed it regardless, while also empowering Kami and stopping King Piccolo in the process. He didn't realize the Namekian dragon was that powerful. It kinda shows how weak he's gotten, but now with Piccolo's power, he could change that, despite his old age. He actually would train Goku here if he wanted to, but Goku already made a promise to go to King Kai, so pretty much immediately after all of this, he goes to King Kai. King Kai is unsure if he's going to make it past Snake Way, but Goku makes it past there pretty easily. He could fly by this point, and the amount of power he has is more than enough. He doesn't get tired out. And for the first time, he meets King Kai face to face. King Kai's glad that everything went well and he finally made it here. Now the real training begins. He notices that Goku's not even really affected by the 10 times gravity right away. Like, he notices the gravity here is higher, but he can move surprisingly well right off the bat. They're going to have to do some more intense training. He'll probably have to add some weights to Goku on top of the gravity here. But the reason he had Goku come here isn't mainly because of his power. He has more than enough of that. He wants to tame that rage within Goku, and also kind of fix his mindset. Remember, he still is kind of cocky here because of all those tournaments he's won. He feels infallible. Nothing can really affect him at this point, and King Kai needs to correct that before that becomes an issue. But fixing that rage thing is more important. Goku needs to learn how to fully tame that anger. Not just to prevent outbursts, but actually utilize that power to its fullest. It's something very valuable if he can actually control it. Oh yeah, he also makes sure to cut Goku's tail off too. A Great Ape Goku would be pretty terrifying at this point. Not that this really matters because he already has the Wrathful form. So losing his tail isn't a big deal because he already has that same power still. But removing the tail means they prevent any accidental transformations. Plus, King Kai hasn't actually seen Wrathful and doesn't know that it's just Great Ape's power. It's a happy accident. It turns out he made the right choice by doing that. Eventually, the 23rd World Tournament rolls around, with all the same contestants as normal, besides Piccolo being there. Goku meets Chi-Chi again and proposes. And it's a pretty normal tournament. The final match would definitely still be Ten versus Goku. And short side note here, Tao's likely dead, so Ten doesn't get a scar. If it shows up in the renders that I use for him in the video, that's because I'm lazy. And while Ten is stronger, Goku ends up winning the fight pretty easily. Even if he didn't train here, it probably wouldn't have been too hard, honestly. Goku gets married to Chi-Chi like normal, and eventually they have a kid. And during this time, Goku also does visit Kami and King Kai more. He never ended up training with Kami, but he actually gets to know him more. Kami wants to keep track of Goku's development, and he is in contact with King Kai too, even though he's not really training too much. And King Kai kind of freaks out when he hears Goku has a kid because Goku hasn't even fully controlled his power yet, and now he has a kid that might have that same power. He asks Goku if he's seen anything weird with Gohan, and no, not really, although he was born with a tail, and King Kai said they need to remove that immediately. He fears that Gohan might have even greater potential, especially because he's not fully Earthling. Wait, what? What does he mean by that? And King Kai's confused because Goku's confused. It's because Gohan's half Saiyan. This whole time, King Kai didn't realize that Goku didn't know he was a Saiyan. He thought he already knew that, and it never really came up in conversation, so King Kai's the one to reveal this to him. He learns more about the Saiyans, and he's kinda glad that they're not here. He sounds very different from all of them. As far as King Kai knows, there's probably only a few of them left, if any. He knows at least the Prince survived. But if any other Saiyans are still alive, they're probably not too big of a threat. And honestly, he doesn't think Vegeta would be a big threat to Goku either. He makes sure not to mention Frieza because he knows Goku will probably try and fight him right away. He's just really surprised Goku didn't even question the fact that he had a tail. This whole time he never acknowledged it as anything weird. Although it kinda makes sense, Earth has a bunch of furry people because they took drugs to become furries. And like, one of his close friends has 3 eyes. And another one of his friends is a pig that talks. And like, just look at his entire friend group, they're all weird. His best friend has no nose. Goku having a tail is honestly not that weird. And now that he puts it like that, yeah, that makes sense to King Kai. A few more years pass and we get to the reunion at Kame House, with Raditz of course arriving. Immediately going here because there's no Piccolo to stop by. He goes right to the highest power he detects, and of course it's Kakarot. When looking at his scouter, he sees that Kakarot's power is about 500. Much stronger than anyone else on Earth, but still, he's a weakling. What he doesn't realize is that Goku is heavily suppressed right now, like very heavily suppressed, and his power is still that high. Goku learns Raditz is his brother, and that there's 2 more Saiyans alive, but he already knew he was a Saiyan. Also, he has confirmation of his name. Not that he's gonna go by Kakarot. Raditz tries to take Gohan, and that really doesn't go well. The second he even tries to lay a finger on Gohan, Goku gets enraged, grabbing Raditz's arm and almost crushing it. He'll give Raditz another chance to leave. If he really wants to fight, they're not gonna do it here. They're gonna have to fight somewhere else. And Raditz gets kind of freaked out by this because the power level on a scouter jumps. It goes from 500 to 5,000 really quickly, and then goes back down to about 1,500. This scouter's gotta be acting up. Maybe it's just detecting him. But why did it jump so high, and why is Kakarot's power level of 500 gone? This thing's a piece of junk. He turns it off for now. Fine, he'll fight Kakarot. He notices he has no tail, and even if Kakarot is as strong as him, he can't turn into a Great Ape. But weirdly enough, as he turns the scouter off, he looks over at Gohan. His power level is like 2. But for a brief moment, Raditz swears he can see it jump up to the 5 digits, but then it instantly goes to the single digits. Alright, maybe he is just imagining things. Or the scouter is really busted. The two fly over to an empty wasteland. Goku assumes a battle stance, and the first thing Raditz does is throw up an artificial moon. Something weird is going on with Kakarot's power, and just in case, he's going to be really safe here. So instantly he turns into a Great Ape and starts mocking his brother. He can't transform. He has no chance against this. Now the tables have turned. He'll give Kakarot one last chance. Kakarot could either die here, or join them. Goku then smirks. Some of that cockiness resurfaces. If Raditz is underestimating him, fine. He'll show him his true power. His hair then stands up, and Raditz's fur almost turns pale out of fear, because for a second he swears he can see Goku's hair turn golden. Same for his aura, but his hair stands up and his aura just turns green. His eyes turn yellow as well. Raditz charges a mouth beam and launches it at him, but Goku simply jumps right through it, punching Raditz right in the face. Raditz tries to swat him like a fly, but quicker than he could perceive, Goku moves around him and lands a kick right on his back, knocking Raditz over. Goku then grabs onto his tail. He wonders if Raditz is capable of the same thing. To even the fight a bit, and also to make sure he doesn't do anything rash, he rips Raditz's tail clean off. And Goku watches as he de-transforms. Goku also detransforms too, but Raditz gets a brief glimpse at his power. What is that form he assumed? Is he the Super Saiyan of legend? Well, no, Goku says it's actually using the Great Ape's power. He doesn't know what a Super Saiyan is. But that doesn't make sense. How is he using a Great Ape's power and he's that much stronger than Raditz when he was also a Great Ape? Plus, his power was so low before. Goku says that's because he was suppressed. Raditz pulls out his scouter and tries to read Goku's power right now. It's dropping because he's suppressing himself. But he also briefly sees it in the 5 digits. This entire time his scouter has been working, he just wasn't believing it. So, how strong was he as a Great Ape? Goku shows off the full power of his base form, and it's at 200,000. Raditz's jaw drops. 200,000? That's almost half of Frieza's power. Isn't he like 530,000? And that means as a Great Ape, Goku's at 2 million. And Goku says this is all the power he could summon right now. When he's enraged, he gets even stronger than this. And usually that happens in that wrathful form he has. This isn't the full extent of his power. He tells Raditz he should leave though. Goku is not joining him, and Raditz is not going to be able to kill him either. So Raditz starts singing a different tune. He asks if Goku could help defeat Frieza. He's terrified of his brother. He doesn't want to die here. He tells Goku more about Frieza. He's not sure if it's enough right now, but if Goku keeps growing stronger, he can defeat Frieza. Goku's honestly not too interested in helping the Saiyans or stopping Frieza. He's not some hero for hire, although he is interested in the prospect of a fight like that, if Frieza actually is as strong as Raditz says. And Raditz says Frieza is the strongest person around, also pure evil. And Goku is interested, but he's not going to have some random space emperor come here to Earth to put it at risk. If this guy takes over and sells planets, why bring him here? He'll fight him, but it'll have to be somewhere else. And honestly, he doesn't want to go out in space right now with Raditz. He can't trust him at the moment. How does he know he's not getting kidnapped? Especially after all of that. He just tried to kidnap his own nephew. They're going to have to convince him some other way. Raditz talks with Vegeta and Nappa over the scouter, and they're pretty intrigued. Why is Kakarot that strong, but not Raditz? Same for that kid too. Nappa thinks that the kid might be strong because he's a hybrid Saiyan. But that doesn't explain Kakarot. He's just a regular low-class Saiyan. So Vegeta asks Raditz to let him speak. And Vegeta talks with Goku for the first time. They'll come to Earth, and they'll meet Kakarot. They could plan something. Even if he doesn't want to go to space just yet, he can meet up with them first and they'll prepare him for the best fight of his life. It's not their fault if they put Earth at risk by coming there, because then it'll be on Frieza's radar. Actually, it probably already is because Raditz went here. Thankfully, his scouter was off during the entire fight, so he never got to see Goku's full power. Except for that brief moment when Goku did power up to his fullest. Hopefully Frieza doesn't look at that section of the recordings. The Saiyans plan to use Goku here. Again, Goku doesn't trust them, and he's not just going to go out in space and kill someone for them. He's definitely up to fight Frieza if he really is that strong, but he's not a mercenary for hire that they could use. So they're doing their best to try and convince him. They're using him, but they need to make it seem like something else. Raditz stays here for the time being. Goku doesn't really like him too much yet. Raditz is also kind of scared of Goku, but he does want to see more of what his brother is capable of. Pulling off Great Ape in a humanoid form is amazing, and it would be cool if he gets that too. But more importantly, he wonders why Goku is so strong. This is strange. Their father was never like that, nor is he. Goku says he's always been like this. Ever since he was a kid, as long as he could remember at least, he's always had this crazy power locked away. Really, it only explodes when he's enraged. That's when things get really bad. Raditz really starts to wonder if he's the Super Saiyan of legend, or maybe something beyond that. Maybe he's some sort of mutated Saiyan, or a legendary Super Saiyan. He doesn't know, there's so many possibilities. He can't say for sure, but what Goku is right now definitely isn't a Super Saiyan. He's just really strong. While they wait for the other two Saiyans to arrive, Raditz kind of starts coaching him in a way, which is weird because he's way weaker than Goku. But he says Goku should be training in higher gravity by this point, and maybe that can help. Maybe Bulma could do something about that. Which leads to the creation of the gravity chamber too, a brand new place for them to train. Raditz joins along with him too, but of course he's not going to catch up to Goku. He really tries his best to have good behavior, and mainly to watch Goku so he can try and learn from it. Maybe he has that same potential locked away somewhere and doesn't realize it. It seems like a long shot, but it's at least worth checking out. What he doesn't know is it's exclusive to Goku. He has a unique mutation that neither of their parents had. Bardock and Guinea were normal low-class Saiyans. Sure, Bardock was pretty strong in his own right, but nothing like this, and that doesn't apply to Raditz either. A year passes, and Vegeta and Nappa arrive on Earth. Now they want to see for themselves. What is Kakarot truly capable of? Thankfully, the Saiyans don't antagonize Goku too much considering his power, but they detest a low-class warrior being that powerful. Something weird is going on here. Particularly Nappa and Vegeta are feeling this. Keep in mind, none of them are good or on Goku's side. They're not attacking him because they plan to use him, but they welcome him to fight. They do want to test out his power to see if he's actually as strong as they thought. All Vegeta and Nappa know right now is what Raditz had told them, and they asked to see a display of his full power, so he does show off Wrathful, and they see he truly is that powerful. They weren't misreading the situation, and Raditz wasn't embellishing anything. This low-class Saiyan somehow is that powerful. Now they have to try and convince him to be on their side and fight Frieza, which will be a bit tough, but there are some things working in their favor. For one, Goku is still a bit cockier than normal. He's a good, pure-hearted guy, but he's also ready for any challenge because he feels he's unstoppable. Plus, he hasn't really had a great challenge in a while, so he's up for a fight like this. Roshi, Korin, King Kai, and even Kami to an extent have all tried to correct this part of him. And sure, he's developed a bit, but this has been a problem throughout Goku's whole life here. He's grown up only knowing victory. Again, this isn't to imply he's a bad-natured person at all. He just basically feels unstoppable. But mostly he's always looking for a challenge because it's so hard to find a challenge like that. He thought fighting Raditz would maybe be interesting, but no. Even when Raditz became a great ape, that wasn't a challenge at all. And Vegeta wonders if Kakarot can actually do this. He probably can. This level of power is unheard of, and it's so weird that it's coming from a low-class Saiyan. So they have to try and start convincing Goku. They tell him all about Frieza. And they also make up some lies and say he's going to attack Earth eventually because now that they've come here, it's on his radar. That part may actually be true, but they don't really have any way to know. They're kind of just making stuff up right now. So that'll entice him to fight earlier on because it'll be better than having him come to Earth. Although it makes Goku wonder, well, if he's going to come here anyways, why not wait for him to come here? Like, what if they leave and he shows up on Earth? Wouldn't that be even worse for him? So Vegeta and Nappa make up something. Well, if Frieza comes to Earth, first it's going to be his army that comes here, and they're going to have to fight a bunch of people at once. And even with his great power, it's going to be hundreds of people at once that he's going to have to fight. Probably spread out across the entire planet. It might put his friends and family at risk without him knowing it. If they attack now, they'll know that they're fighting Frieza and just Frieza. Plus, if Kakarot agrees to this, Vegeta says they'll fight the rest of the soldiers themselves. Kakarot could just have a 1v1 with Frieza with nothing held back. He could have the greatest fight of his life. They're trying to appeal more to his selfish side, as well as the fact that he's still a battle-loving Saiyan. Goku obviously thinks it's a bit dangerous, and he has known Raditz for about a year now, but still, it's not like he could fully trust this group. He doesn't even fully trust Raditz either. It takes a lot of convincing, and a lot of lying as well. And from what Goku's hearing, this sounds like a good idea. First of all, what they're saying about Frieza coming to Earth might be correct, and if Frieza really is that strong, he doesn't want his friends being put at risk because of that. When Goku's discussing with the rest of his friends, Krillin does worry that he's going to be stuck out there, but Goku thinks he'll be fine. He could find his way back to Earth, especially with help from King Kai, and the other Saiyans don't know about that. He knows they're kind of embellishing things a bit. For all he knows, maybe he's being led into a trap, but the thought of that really excites him. For once, he might actually have a challenge that he could face. At the very least, he knows they're telling the truth about Frieza because even King Kai confirmed it. Frieza really is that strong. And he makes sure to run this by King Kai as well. King Kai can't say for certain if what they're saying is true, especially the part about Frieza maybe coming to Earth. But now that Goku mentions that, King Kai thinks it is a possibility. So maybe it would be better if he stopped Frieza outright. But he does warn Goku. Despite his great power, Frieza is really strong. Personally, he thinks Goku should prepare and just not go out and fight Frieza right now. There is actually the risk of Frieza coming to Earth, but going out to space to fight him? That's even riskier because they don't know what to expect out there. For all they know, the Saiyans might just kidnap Goku and keep him out in space. But again, Goku's not really too concerned. If Frieza's the biggest threat, that's all he really needs to worry about. He's confident he can make it back. He'll defeat them easily, take a ship, and he'll rely on King Kai for help. King Kai kinda hates that he's being treated like Google Maps here, but he could also tell at this point that he can't stop Goku. He really wants to do this. That cocky part of his nature is coming to light. Goku isn't stupid. He realizes what they're trying to do here. He knows that, to some extent, they're trying to use him. But he could use that to his advantage too. He could have some fun in fighting Frieza. And if things go bad, he thinks he can handle himself. He says goodbye to all his friends. He'll be back soon. And just in case, he even brings Senzu beans with him. Just for himself, not the other Saiyans. So he departs with them. Vegeta says he'll set up a meeting with Frieza somewhere. At the very least, they could try and find out where he's going to be, and then just intercept. Vegeta views Kakarot as their ultimate weapon. He still has no clue what's going on with him, but he assumes he's some sort of mutant Saiyan of some kind. That wrathful form that he uses? Vegeta can't tell for sure, but it appears to be the power of a great ape. Although it makes him wonder if Kakarot is some sort of legend. There's so many rumors in Saiyan history, and maybe Kakarot is something like that. But also he wonders about Kakarot's son. Before leaving, Goku of course said goodbye to his family as well. And the other Saiyans briefly saw Gohan. Goku promised Gohan he'll be back soon. Vegeta and Nappa wonder if Gohan has that same type of strength. Or maybe if it's even greater. He is a hybrid Saiyan after all, they've never really seen anything like that before. Who knows what he's capable of? More importantly, who knows what Goku's capable of? Once they figure out where Kakarot's power comes from, they're definitely going to come back here and see what Gohan's capable of. The Saiyans think Goku should take his old space pod, they'll even fix it up if they could find it. He didn't even realize that was here, but instead they just take Kami's ship. This way they could travel faster and train some more. Those attack balls are slower and they can't train together. Plus, by doing this, Goku knows how to fly the ship back if he needs to. Goku packs up their ships in capsules, because he's probably going to end up leaving them on their own at some point. He'll at least make sure they have their ships with them. Along the way, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz discuss more. Nappa isn't really sure of what to think. Raditz got to know Goku more. He definitely doesn't have the mind of a Saiyan, but he's powerful. That's what irks Nappa the most. How is he so kind-hearted but also the most brutal warrior of any of them? Or at least, he has the potential to be the most brutal warrior. It's so strange, his strength seems to come from anger. But he doesn't fight like a monster. What Raditz finds so weird is that he's a low-class warrior like him. He's his brother, and Raditz doesn't have any of this potential, nor did his parents. And he is pretty jealous. Why does his younger brother have to be stronger than him? Vegeta also doesn't like to rely on this because he'd rather deal with Frieza alone, but this way, they get Frieza out of their hair. And who knows, maybe they'll actually have a great ally along their side now. He kinda doubts that Kakarot's gonna join them willingly later on, but maybe they could find other ways to use him. They don't know that Goku knows they're using him, so they're gonna try and manipulate him more. Especially because he might also be a liability. Who knows if he'll turn on them as well? Especially with that type of power, even with the control he has in it, what if he loses control? Eventually they arrive on a base of operations. Frieza's not here just at the moment, but Vegeta knows a way to draw Frieza out. He starts causing chaos around the base, basically starting an uprising. Raditz and Nappa join in having a lot of fun. Goku's already not liking this a lot. At some points, some soldiers try to attack him, and he just non-lethally deals with them. He's not here for an uprising, he was just here to fight Frieza. But this uprising is meant to bring Frieza out, and up close Goku gets to see the cruelty of the Saiyans around him. Even after that time on Earth, it doesn't feel like Raditz has changed much, which he didn't really expect in the first place. Frieza shows up on the planet. He's already been told who's here causing chaos, and he heard there's an extra Saiyan alongside them. He doesn't fight with Vegeta, Nappa, or Raditz. They direct Frieza to Goku. They say he started all of this. Sure, they're on his side and they brought him here, but they want to make sure Frieza's aggression is targeted towards Kakarot, so he fights him one-on-one. Frieza can instantly recognize that hairstyle too. He looks like that Saiyan that stood up against him all those years ago. Weirdly enough, he's apparently Raditz's brother as well, which kinda makes him laugh. Raditz is just a low-class warrior and he's not that strong. He's the weakest of the three Saiyans. Raditz almost speaks up and tries to correct this because by now he's actually stronger than Nappa. But he bites his tongue because that not only will piss Frieza off, but probably Nappa too. No point in correcting him. The Saiyans watch, just trying not to laugh the whole time because Frieza keeps talking a big game, but they know Goku's gonna beat him. Frieza begins fighting Goku in his first form, and Goku is really underwhelmed. He goes into his second form, and it's the same case there. In his third form, he starts gaining some ground, but Goku shows even more strength, showing off his full power and base. Goku really hopes Frieza has more power locked away. He's getting really bored now, and it's kind of a shame. He came all the way out here just for this. This of course makes Frieza really angry because Goku's mocking him, and Goku honestly doesn't mean to do that. But he can tell just by the way Goku's fighting that he's not taking this seriously. Which also kind of scares Frieza a bit too, because why is a low-class Saiyan this strong? A thought passes his mind, he might be the Super Saiyan of legend, but that doesn't seem to be the case. This appears to be his full strength, and as far as he knows, Saiyans can't transform into anything besides great apes. And this Saiyan doesn't even have a tail. Frieza's confident that in his final form he could win this. Once he goes into his final form, he actually is a challenge for Goku. In his final form, at 50%, his power is 60 million. At first, Goku's actually struggling a bit, which he likes. It's been so long since he's faced this. He's never had a challenge like this, not in a while at least. So he doesn't even transform, he fights like this for a bit. He gives himself a handicap just to have some sort of fun here. He loves fighting, but he's lost so much of the thrill of it because he always has to hold back so much. Even here he's doing that. But this is great, this trip was definitely worth it, and he loves that he gets to test his power once more. And amidst this fight, he's actually been using Kaioken. It's something he never really uses because Wrathful's better, but again, he's trying to handicap himself to have some fun here. And he really is having fun. It stresses his body, but also evens the fight out. And he can tell Frieza's also holding back, so he lets Frieza power up even further. He makes it seem like he's going to lose, so he tells Frieza if he's going to lose here, he wants it to be against Frieza's full power. So Frieza obliges. He'll at least give this monkey a dignifying death, even though he doesn't really deserve it. He's feeling gracious now that he's ahead again. Frieza's now at 100%, and now Goku decides to go all out. He jumps into Wrathful. And of course, Goku hiding this just angers Frieza even more. But Goku did miscalculate something here. Frieza does have an advantage. He's far more durable than Goku. He could take a much more severe beating. Although for Goku, he does grow during battle. He adapts really quickly because he's just that great of a fighter. But also him being like Broly kind of helps there a bit too. Not to mention the fact that if he's enraged, he grows even further. He's running out of steam a little bit because of using Kaioken before, but it really doesn't matter to him. But there's another miscalculation. His cockiness made him take this fight too lightly. He's never met Frieza before, and he's heard all the things about him, but he underestimates how cruel Frieza really is. Frieza starts to get into Goku's head. He's from planet Earth, isn't he? This shocks Goku a bit because how did Frieza know that? He knew the Saiyans were probably planning against him, and he knew they found a strong ally on Earth, but he didn't really think anything of it because Goku didn't seem to be anywhere close to Frieza's level. Defeating Raditz isn't really a big deal to him. However, he did make sure to go over the cliffs. Frieza promises Goku that once he finishes this fight, he'll go to Earth and take it over himself. Although he does know there's another Saiyan there. What was his name again? Gohan, isn't it? That's a name he heard over the scouter. Didn't Raditz try to kidnap him? Raditz was smart to turn off the scouter after their battle, but Frieza still got plenty of great info before. He heard Goku talking to his friends, and even shouting their names at some points. He tries to remember the other names. He heard Bulma and Krillin too, and judging by Goku's reaction, that name Gohan, that's the name of his son, isn't it? A hybrid Saiyan. Well, he has to make sure the Saiyans are fully extinct. So after killing all of them here, he's going to Earth. And before doing anything else on Earth, he'll make it his priority to kill Gohan first. He doesn't even know who this kid is, but he'll take pride in the fact that he's killing the very last Saiyan in existence. And he'll make sure to let Gohan know that it's his father's fault. And even though the scouter only picked up a few things and it was pretty spotty, still, it gave Frieza more than enough info. Goku didn't expect to hear anything like this before. It seems what the Saiyans said were true. Frieza doesn't know about Earth, and he didn't realize Frieza knew this much. Frieza's trying to get into Goku's head here and make him angrier, just so he slips up during battle. But it does have an unintended side effect. He doesn't know what Goku's true nature's like. He doesn't know where Goku's power comes from. He was hoping that by making Goku angry, he'd be able to exploit that during the battle. But Goku's now feeling something he hasn't felt in a while. This is the first time basically ever that Goku's facing actual challenge. His cockiness did get the better of him, and while the battle is even right now and he does have the chance to win, still it's the first time he's faced a risk in a battle like this. But also this guy's directly threatening to kill his friends and family. And the craziest part is, he actually could probably do that. He has the power and the resources. Plus, Goku's in Wrathful right now, so he's already in kind of a volatile state, even though he can't control the form. All of this mixed together makes this feel like a real threat to Goku, and it pushes him over the edge. The thing he's feeling right now is immense rage, to a level that he's never felt before, at least not since Krillin was killed. But combined with the fact that he's already not in a great state, and the fact that he's actually being pushed by Frieza, well, it causes something to snap within him. Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta see the same thing Goku's friend saw a while ago when Krillin died. Goku's hair starts flashing a different color, and his power starts increasing dramatically. He's losing control of it, which is weird for the Saiyans because they never saw him lose complete control. Frieza throws a punch, and Goku catches it. Frieza tries to draw his hand back, but he can't. Goku's grip on Frieza's hand tightens, and his hand is crushed. His hair starts glowing a golden color, and his aura shifts to a completely golden one too. But Frieza watches up close as Goku's eyes change as well. They become more of a bluish-green color briefly, but then his eyes become completely white, his aura that explodes, destroying everything around them, sending the Saiyans flying through the air and Frieza too. Goku's floating there above them, indiscriminately launching Ki Blast out in every direction, but the Saiyans can kinda see what's going on from the ground below. He's transformed into something else. Goku has become a Super Saiyan, and he has no control whatsoever. The Saiyans watch on in terror as Goku continues launching Ki Blasts, with Frieza also pretty mortified. There's no doubt that that's the Super Saiyan of legend. No one knew what to expect the Super Saiyan to be like, but definitely not this. Everything around them is completely leveled. Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz barely make it out. Goku, of course, is pretty unhinged right now, but he attacks the first thing in sight, and that's Frieza. The one good thing about this is, part of him at least knows he has to attack Frieza. And it's a pretty short fight. Goku was already doing pretty well against Frieza before, and now he's just way far ahead. There's nothing Frieza could do. By taunting Goku, that ended up leading to his own death, because he's brutally beaten by Goku, and then killed. And the Saiyans are still pretty mortified, but at least that's one good thing that came out of this. They try and call King Cold over as well. Hopefully they can get a 2-for-1 special. But for now they need to remain hidden, or at least escape. But there's a big issue. Goku pretty much destroyed everything at the base. Goku actually has their spaceships in a capsule, but they're lucky enough to actually find one somewhere else. There are a few ships that got untouched, but they need to leave right now if they want to survive. Frieza's dead, and Goku's not their problem. Even better, Goku might just end up killing himself in the process. If he destroys the planet, he'll die. And that way they won't have to worry about him anymore. They won't have anyone to stand up against them. The Saiyans will be the strongest. Frieza and Cold will be gone, and so will Kakarot. They'll be free to do whatever they want. They get on their ship and leave. And by the time Goku notices the ship escaping, it's already too late. He hears a voice talking to him in his head though. It's King Kai, trying desperately to get through to Goku. He's realized the same thing that the Saiyans did. If Goku keeps raging like this, he might end up destroying the planet accidentally and then he'll die out in space. And King Kai has no clue of what else to do because, first of all, no one could even fight Goku at the moment. But even if someone could fight him, no one's around. He defeated Frieza with ease. And King Kai senses that King Cold is on his way as well, which is just going to complicate things even further. He actually wasn't too far out. When he heard there was an uprising, he was also heading in this direction. Frieza just made it here before him, and since he's lost communication with everybody else, it's only right that he continues going here. He arrives with some of the soldiers that he has, and all they see is a desolate wasteland. Frieza's nowhere to be seen, and there's not even a base left. The planet's in pretty rough shape too, but still somehow intact. Everyone is scattered then explodes as they pick up Goku's energy, and he can actually sense their ki. Even though he's acting mindlessly right now, this is so second nature to him that he senses this. Thankfully the Saiyans were able to lower their ki and leave. For everyone else here, that's not going to happen. Goku immediately starts fighting the rest of that army. with King Cole also trying to stop Goku, but he can't do anything. The second he starts fighting, he loses, barely living another few seconds before Goku kills him. King Kai can't believe what he's seeing. He didn't know Goku was capable of all of this. This power is even worse than the last one because with Wrathful, Goku at least had some sort of conscience, he knew what he was doing. But in whatever this form is, he's just completely mindless, he's on a rampage. Well, at least he's only fighting enemies right now, and fighting King Cold did buy him some time, as in it prevented Goku from destroying the entire planet because he was focused on killing King Cold. Which means he used more energy, and hopefully that means he's starting to run out. King Kai tries everything he can, but there's not really much he can do. It seems like this is it for Goku. He's gonna destroy everything out here, and he's gonna die. In one last desperate attempt, he yells out to Goku again. And this time, through the rage, Goku actually hears King Kai's voice. And briefly, he starts to gain some sort of sense of self. He stops rampaging. The thing that set him off wasn't even that severe, and he realizes that he killed the threat. King Kai reminds him, if Frieza actually was a threat, he would have stopped him regardless. And he already did stop him. There's nothing to worry about anymore. Just his own safety. Goku's eyes begin turning to normal. He looks like a regular Super Saiyan. Not that anyone would know what that looks like. But while he does control the form, his aura then explosively flares up, with King Kai scared that Goku's gonna go right back to how he was. And the amount of ki he lets off is insane. It's even higher than before. But after this, Goku just completely powers down. It's almost like his body instinctively powered up just to tire him out, so he wouldn't transform into this again. Because he's back to base and seemingly back to normal. Although he kind of forgets what just happened. He sees no one's around and the whole planet's destroyed. And he thought he heard King Kai's voice and King Kai starts talking to him again. That was him. King Kai assures him that everything's fine, especially because he assumes Goku's pretty volatile right now. But what was that power he displayed? Goku honestly doesn't know either. The last thing he remembers is Frieza said something to piss him off, and he can't really remember exactly what it was, but it was enough to send him into this. Which is weird because he thought he was already controlling his anger. But King Kai says he unlocked something completely different. It's not his wrathful form, although that seems to be part of it. Goku was already in a volatile state when he transformed, and Frieza just pushed him over the edge. Normally this wouldn't make him turn Super Saiyan, especially this type of Super Saiyan. Whatever that was pretty scary to King Kai, and Goku barely has any recollection of anything. Apparently in the process, he didn't just kill Frieza, he killed King Cold, Frieza's father, which kind of bums him out because he was hoping for a better fight. He finally showed off everything against Frieza and was having fun, but Frieza kind of ruined it. Goku probably would have won that battle anyways, but for once in a while he was actually challenged. Although he wonders what happened with the Saiyans. Did they die in the process? And King Kai's actually not sure, but it looks like they might have escaped. By the time he was tuned into everything, they were already gone. Which is weird because Goku knows that he has their ships on him, as well as his own ship. Thankfully, it's still intact in the capsule. He also takes a Senzu for himself because he's pretty worn out. And healing from this gives him a boost in power as well, besides just completely restoring him. Well, he's not particularly close with the Saiyans, but he kinda hopes that he didn't kill them on accident. As for Frieza, King Cold, and his army, all he's really bummed about is the fact that he didn't get to enjoy the battle. Thankfully, no one innocent got caught in the collateral damage. He throws down his capsule, gets on a ship, and heads back to Earth. Still kind of taken aback by the power he just showcased. The Saiyans are also on their way to Earth too. They assume that Goku's dead. There's no way he's going to be able to control that power. And he'll just end up killing himself in the process by destroying the planet, which makes them happy. That's one less thing to worry about. He'll probably even kill King Cold as well. This is the perfect scenario for them. They initially wanted to use Goku to just kill Frieza and then they could do whatever they wanted. But there's also the fact that he would have been a threat later on. This way, it kills two birds with one stone. Or rather, three birds with one stone because King Cold as well. Frieza and Cold are dead, and so is the only other person that could threaten them. Kakarot, that's Super Saiyan. Plus, it gave them some insight into what a Super Saiyan is, assuming that's what they were seeing. They don't know if that's something exclusive to Kakarot because, again, he's already weird to begin with. But at least they now know Saiyans have the potential to transform. Maybe they could find something for themselves. They're gonna go to Earth and make that planet their own. They'll take it without opposition. It does seem like a good place they could live on. And since the Saiyans don't really know what to do next anyways, the best thing they could do for now is find a home base. And they'll be able to take over it if they need to. But by the time they arrive on Earth, someone's there to greet them. It's Goku. His ship was actually faster than theirs. By the time they get there, he's actually been there a day already. Well, there goes their plans. First of all, because they're probably going to be kicked off this planet. Second of all, he probably wants them dead. And Goku's honestly pretty chill about everything. He tells them it was kind of a dick move that they left him on that planet, but he assumed they were just terrified. Yeah, they were scared. And that was part of the reason, but really, they just want Goku to die. And Goku says it's a good thing they knew to come here, and that they were able to get a ship to leave. It seems like they wanted to meet up with him again. Yeah, that's why they came here, definitely. It's a good thing Kakarot's kind-hearted. If he was any regular Saiyan, they would be dead already. Actually, probably long ago. But they are curious. They thought he would have died, so what happened? Well, he explains what happened, and he doesn't really have much of an explanation. It seems like he can't control that power, which is good for them at least, but it doesn't really change much because they're already weaker than him regardless. And they won't be able to learn anything more about the form, But they can make the best of the situation. Maybe they can actually stay on Earth. They can grow stronger this way, and they could study Kakarot. But on the flip side, Goku also wants to keep them at arm's length to make sure they don't do anything stupid. So it's probably mutually beneficial to keep everyone together. And even though that fight wasn't what he expected, still, he ended up fighting Frieza, which is what he wanted. He got to fight someone strong that could actually challenge him, even if it turned out pretty bad in the end. Now he's kind of concerned about his power though. He doesn't really know where to go from here. When he lost control with Wrathful before, he was able to briefly gain it back. This was the first time he did it, and that's when Krillin died. It's weird, he would have expected a more severe reaction to that, but it's also good he didn't have that same reaction because if he went Super Saiyan there and went on a rampage, everyone would be dead. There would be no Earth. At least now he knows, and when it happened, it was somewhere where it could have happened. There was no worry of him killing innocent bystanders on accident. In the end, going to Frieza was really beneficial because now he knows this side of himself. But it's scary because first of all, it's so powerful, and second of all, it's uncontrollable. It was only a stroke of luck that he was able to control it in the first place. And he feels maybe he could transform into it again, but he's also worried that if he does, he'll go on a rampage again. It seems the reason he transformed here is because, with Wrathful, he was already utilizing that anger for power, and Frieza just ended up pushing it over the edge. Again, he's just really glad this didn't happen while he was a kid. Some time passes, and the Saiyans get acclimated to Earth because they kind of have to be complacent here. They spend a lot of time around Goku because they want to see what he's capable of, and they try and get him to use that power again. But he's pretty apprehensive, as you'd probably expect. He has no clue of what will happen afterwards if he transforms, but he is still working on himself. Of course, he's Goku, he's going to train regardless, but he's also working on his mental state to see if maybe there's still some sort of flaw there that he could fix, and that's why he went on a rampage. He's known for a long while now that he's prone to rage, and when that happens, he gets a lot of power from it too. Maybe this is the full manifestation of that. Wrathful was basically an omen of what's to come. Or maybe the two are completely unrelated. That golden-haired form that everyone else is calling Super Saiyan, he has no clue of what it is or if it's related to Wrathful at all. Either way though, he needs to figure out the source of it because if he does, that's how he can control it. He can make it his own, and he won't have to worry about it anymore. At some point, another fighter appears. Someone shows up at Goku's house. He introduces himself as Trunks and pulls Goku aside. Thankfully, no one else is here to hear this. He explains he's a time traveler, and he also explains why he's here, telling Goku about the androids and also the heart virus, giving Goku his medicine. And even though Goku's the only one around here, he actually remembers everything this time. He tries to test Goku's power and transforms into a Super Saiyan, with Goku going to Wrathful to fight him. And Goku is still way above him, and he's not even using his full power, which confuses Goku. Trunks knows his full power? Well, he's heard about it from Vegeta. Apparently before he died, he did get some sort of control over Super Saiyan. Plus, the others found out they can go Super Saiyan as well. At least, Vegeta found it out first. Before he died, he was able to transform into it. So, that proves to them it's not exclusive to Goku, especially because Trunks is living proof of that. He has the form himself. It's attainable for anyone. Well, this is all good news to hear. Except the androids part, and the heart virus part he guesses, but still, this means he could actually prevent everything. And he thanks Trunks for his help. Trunks just saved him from the heart virus, and he probably just saved everybody else from the androids. He'll return in a few years when the androids arrive. Now, Goku gets to work. He tells everybody about what happened, and he kind of has to explain everything with Trunks because no one actually saw him. They don't even really believe him at first, but he has some sort of proof, and he also tells the other Saiyans it means they could transform into Super Saiyan as well. This guy turned into one, and Goku knows why he didn't want them to know who he was because they would have found out he was Vegeta's son, and maybe he wouldn't have been born if that was the case. So over the next few years, everyone begins training in preparation for the androids, with Goku focusing on training the other Saiyans because they want to work with him and get Super Saiyan for themselves. If that really is attainable, of course, they're going to want to go for that. We reach the end of this time skip, and just as Trunks said, two androids appear in a city one day. It's androids 19 and 20. But by now, Goku feels that he's prepared, and so is everybody else. They'll fight off these androids and win here. Although, there is one thing Goku kind of forgot. He didn't take the heart virus medicine immediately when he saw the signs of it. Of course, it's not a preventative medicine. He had to wait until he actually had the symptoms for it, and they did appear pretty much around the same time, which is exactly when he's about to fight androids 19 and 20. It probably would have been a much easier battle if he was involved, but the Saiyans are pretty happy because this means they get to step up and fight. Although there's only two androids, so they have to decide who's fighting who. Of course, they're only going to be fighting 1v1. But simultaneously, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz all turn Super Saiyan. They're ready for their battle. Thankfully, the androids don't have data on Super Saiyan yet, but they are more powerful because of all the data they have on Goku. And, of course, all the differences between this timeline and Trunks's. Vegeta goes in to fight Android 20, with Nappa and Raditz each trying to fight Android 19 at the same time, but they decide to do rock, paper, scissors. That always works out. Nappa wins and he gets to fight Android 19 on his own, while Raditz has to watch from the sidelines, a little bit ticked off by this. Nappa is able to defeat Android 19, and Vegeta is actually above Android 20, but he's able to escape, in an effort to try and activate Android 17 and 18. And you know, the group's not really too concerned right now. These are the androids they had to fight, they just have to find that one coward that ran away, and then they'll be all set. But eventually Trunks comes back and a few things are revealed. First of all, Vegeta realizes who Trunks is. That's his son from the future. They never actually saw Trunks before, they just heard about him from Goku. And it is true that he's a Super Saiyan, they get to see that up close. But also, Trunks confirms that those aren't the same androids from his timeline. So there's probably more androids, it's not just those two. And for all they know, that one who escaped might be the one who activates the other ones. He might even be the one who created the androids. After getting over the shock that Trunks is Vegeta's son, they continue looking for the other android. Nappa and Raditz promise they'll level everything to find the lab. And next time they find him, Raditz is going to be the one to fight since he didn't get to fight this time. And Trunks wants them to stop because that's not really a good idea. Since this is another android, they really need to figure out what else is going on here, because things have clearly changed from his timeline, and leveling everything in the process isn't really going to help. They're dead serious about this too, and that gets Trunks to realize that these Saiyans aren't really too far developed. They haven't really assimilated with Earth too much. Apparently, Vegeta was kind of like that too before he died, and Trunks gets to see that up close too. And the Saiyans then realize that if there are other androids, they want them to be activated. That'll be a lot more fun. Great, Trunks has the absolute worst crew to work with. The Saiyans have adjusted to Earth somewhat, as in they're kind of on the side of Goku and everybody else, but they're not quite where Vegeta was at this point in the story, which wasn't really too far. He never really worked with everybody, he was just working in his own interests, and sometimes those align with the rest of the group. And especially because they mostly hang out with each other, the way they act hasn't changed too much. Vegeta's actually developed most of anything because he's been around Bulma a lot. Goku kinda gets along with Raditz, but Raditz really keeps to himself. So that's another part of it. The only influences on each other are themselves. Hence why they're still acting pretty much like their old selves. Marginally better, but still pretty similar. They aren't able to find Dr. Gero in time, and he activates Android 17 and 18, with Android 16 also being activated. They eventually do find the lab, but they see that the androids are here, and Gero's dead. This seems a lot more fun for the Saiyans because now there's 3 androids. That's perfect. One for each of them to fight. But these androids are much stronger than Dr. Gero and Android 19. 17 and 18 are the ones from Trunks' timeline, he could tell. But they're acting a bit different, and they do seem a bit stronger. And he has no clue about Android 16. He doesn't even try to fight here. Vegeta tries to fight 18, and Raditz tries to fight 17, with Nappa attempting to fight 16. But the other two are defeated really quickly, and before Nappa even fights Android 16, he then jumps in to fight one of the other androids, and he's defeated really quickly too. Basically, the androids dogwalk everyone. They're here to kill Goku, of course, so they don't kill everyone here, but they do beat them pretty badly. And being left embarrassed by the androids, the group now needs to figure out what to do against the androids to actually defeat them. Not too long later, we go over to Goku's house. He's still recovering from the heart virus, and given the stress he's put on his body over the past 3 years, plus beforehand, it compounded the problems of the heart virus, which just made it a bit worse. Thankfully, they still got it in time, and even though he's suffering right now, he's gonna make it through. Of course, his family's there around them, including Gohan. Goku has actually been training Gohan over the past 3 years. He was worried that Gohan might have similar issues to him, and Gohan didn't really get proper training beforehand, so Goku really wanted to get ahead of that. Especially since he might have the same sort of problems with his anger. Even though Goku has control over Super Saiyan by now, there is another issue with it. He doesn't know what the full power of it is because he never really uses it at that level. The first time he transformed, he remembered at the end of the transformation, there was a point when he drew out a lot more power than he realized he had, and that's what wore him out. It's what got him to de-transform in the first place. So he thinks there's some sort of deeper power within it. Not necessarily a stage above Super Saiyan, but rather a state of it that fully manifests the power of the form, a full-powered version. And over those 3 years he did test this. There was one point in which he transformed. He never did it again, basically out of fear that he might just go berserk. He needs a better environment to practice in, and mainly, someone who could stop him. But he drew out the full power of Super Saiyan. He bulked up considerably, and his aura changed to a greenish color, same for his hair. And that's what really got him freaked out, because he doesn't remember what happened after that. The only reason he survived this is because he exhausted himself beforehand just to draw out that full power. And pretty much immediately after manifesting that full power, he used the last of his energy and had no more to work with. So he just went unconscious. And that's why he started working on it with Gohan. The other Saiyans know about this too. And while Goku's writhing on the floor in pain, somebody bursts into the house. It's Raditz. He tells Gohan to come with him. Chi-Chi of course isn't going to have it, and Gohan isn't really too sure of what to do. But Goku strains himself as he tries to talk. He tells them it's fine. It's probably for the best that Gohan goes to regroup with the others. Gohan does want to stay because Goku's in a bad state, but Goku says he'll be okay. He'll make it through this, he just needs some time. It's more important that they try and stop the androids right now. Because from what he's guessing, Raditz is here because the androids weren't fully stopped. And yeah, that's exactly why he's here. Goku says Gohan can go regroup with Trunks. He'll be a good hand with Trunks, and from what Goku knows, Trunks briefly did know Gohan in the future. Goku never got the full info about this. He doesn't know if Gohan died at the same time as the others, or if he lived longer, but if it was the latter, he feels like Trunks would have said that. Why'd he leave that out? Was there some sort of reason that he doesn't know? He goes unconscious again, and he'll have to worry about this later. Raditz takes Gohan, and they don't go to Trunks at all. Vegeta's off on his own, and Trunks is trying to reach him. Nappa did the same, and he's just kind of off on his own wherever. For Raditz, he thinks this is a good chance to get ahead of his brother. He hasn't given up yet. He will grow further, but he needs someone to work with too. Kakarot's useless right now, and at the same time, there is something Raditz is curious about. He's never seen Gohan's power, at least to its fullest, and he really wants to whip Gohan into shape. He's always wondered what a hybrid Saiyan would be capable of, especially one who's the son of Kakarot, who apparently is a mutant or something. Gohan tells Raditz he can't fight the androids right now. He's definitely not prepared, and he doesn't have full access to his power. But Raditz reminds Gohan of who his father is. He's sure Gohan has that power deep in there somewhere. They'll just have to find some way to draw it out, and he knows the best way to do that: anger. Raditz goes Super Saiyan and immediately attacks Gohan. He's serious too. He doesn't hold back, and there's no warning. Gohan can't contend at all, and he thinks Raditz is trying to kill him. Raditz says that's exactly what he's trying to do. This is the only way to bring his strength out. Gohan has the potential to be better than him, and better than his father. But he's wasting the gift he has, the same thing Raditz wishes he had for himself. So either he draws out that power here, or he dies in the process. Because if he can't utilize that power, he shouldn't live. But there's more to it too. As part of the low-class lineage, he could prove they're better than the others. Raditz doesn't fully mean what he's saying, there is some truth to what he feels, but mainly he's trying to get Gohan to unlock this power, just because he's curious. But also, he's sort of accepted the fact that he doesn't have this power, and he at least wants to make sure Gohan can use it for himself. It really would be a waste if he can't. Gohan doesn't care about one-upping the other Saiyans or proving he's better, but Raditz is threatening to kill him, and he seems pretty serious about it. And Raditz reminds Gohan, he can kill Gohan here, and then maybe Goku will die next too. If Gohan can't draw out his power, he's useless. He can't do anything to help them, and it will be Gohan's fault that everyone dies. Raditz keeps beating him up and taunting him, and it eventually does the trick. Gohan gets a huge rage boost. Not fully transforming yet, but Raditz can tell he's close. There it is. He hit a nerve. He's gonna keep going. Gohan's power rises dramatically. He's in base and heavily injured, but quickly he actually starts landing attacks on Raditz. They don't do much at first, but then they start hurting. He's powering up more. He's so close to harnessing that power even further. Far away on the lookout, Kami is watching everything. He contemplates fighting for himself too. He has trained in the past few years, and he's even gathered the Dragon Balls just now in preparation for the androids. But he senses something weird. The android shouldn't have any ki, but he feels another monster pop up, and it's someone with an actual ki signature. A really ominous one too. It feels like a mix of everybody else. Nobody else could fight at the moment, and Kami has been thinking about this a lot. Is it taboo to use the Dragon Balls for himself? First of all, the group might need them later, but should he really be using the power like that? As he debates with himself, he contemplates one thing. Apparently, he did die in the future somehow because they had no Dragon Balls. That must mean in the future he probably did try to fight. How else would the androids get to him? If that's the case, that means him fighting here is useless. So he asks Trunks quickly, communicating telepathically. And Trunks says Kami was killed in the future, but he was never sure how. From what he heard, Kami never fought. He died pretty much around the same time as everybody else. He would have known if Kami fought with the androids because Gohan would have said something to Bulma. Maybe the androids found the lookout and he couldn't stop them from getting up there, or maybe he went to the surface. Trunks never knew exactly what happened, just that the Dragon Balls were gone. Which tells Kami he never fought in the future. And that means him fighting was never tried before, they never even considered that. Maybe there is a chance he could help. Maybe it won't be a useless endeavor. Kami summons Shenron on the lookout. This is the best choice for him. Obviously the monster he sent was Cell. He's been absorbing everyone around him, and he's been left alone a bit longer because of how things have changed so far. But amidst the chaos he's causing, a new fighter appears. It's someone who he actually has data on. The Red Ribbon army was decimated before. Somehow Gero was able to make it through. But long after that, another person tried to take over the world. It was King Piccolo. Intrigued by Goku's power, he began gathering data sooner. This is how he got some data from King Piccolo. Despite how short his return was, it still gave Gero just enough. But he's been gone for so long, although Cell's seeing him right now in front of him. This is King Piccolo, someone who's part of his DNA. The new fighter says Cell is sort of right. He's not necessarily King Piccolo, but that is part of him. He was a powerful warrior before, but to be fully proficient with his power, he needs to be in his prime. This is Kami. He wished for his youth. He knows that's what King Piccolo was planning, and decided maybe that would work for himself. The two begin fighting. Cell is definitely much stronger thanks to Goku's DNA, although he can't really harness that great potential just yet. But still, just as a baseline, it does give him a boost in power. As for Kami, he is really strong, but he is marginally weaker than where Piccolo was supposed to be because Piccolo had extra years of training and battle experience against strong warriors. Kami was training, and he still is Kami after all, plus he has all of the power of King Piccolo, but he's a slightly weaker warrior than the fused Piccolo in the actual story. So it might seem like this is completely in Cell's favor, but you also have to remember, Cell doesn't have King Cold or Frieza's DNA. The best thing about him is Goku's DNA and all the data he got from Goku. Thankfully, it is relatively old and outdated. Although he does act more Saiyan-like here because most of his DNA is Saiyans. So Kami vs. Cell is a close fight, especially with Cell having a little bit more time to absorb more people. It's not like Piccolo's first encounter with Cell. But again, since some time has passed, there is another change here. As the two are fighting, 3 more people show up. It's the androids. Cell was actually heading towards the androids, and thanks to Android 16, they headed towards Cell because they could detect him fighting Kami. Cell isn't sure if he's strong enough right now to absorb them, but it might be worth a try. He has absorbed a lot of people, and he is stronger than normal because of Goku, obviously. He wanted to be close to them to figure out where they were going. But now he has a chance. As for Kami, he thinks he could have beaten Cell, but here, he knows he can't win. This is going to be a 4v1. Cell tries to attack Kami just to get him out of the way, but Kami then teleports away. He can go anywhere on Earth, so he avoids all of the attacks by doing this. He didn't immediately show this, but this is an ability that he has. As a Guardian, he could teleport limitlessly around Earth. And he's only grown faster. But maybe he could use this to his advantage. He could teleport one of the other fighters away from this area just so they're not grouped together. There are 2 issues with that though. For one, he doesn't know how strong the androids are, besides Cell. He only saw them fight the others, and he can't detect their power right now. But there's another issue he's not aware of. He doesn't realize that Cell's not allies with the other androids. He's here to absorb them. So quickly, Kami grabs onto Android 17 and teleports him away to a random area just to fight him, hoping he made the right choice. His plan was to fight the weakest android one-on-one. That would be the smartest option. But again, it was kind of a gamble. He didn't know which one was the weakest. He hopes he could fight against 17. And he could do this, divide and conquer, defeat them one by one. That might be their best option here. Even better if one of his allies joins him. This of course leaves Cell alone with the other 2 androids. They have no clue of what his plan is, but obviously they're not going to trust him right away just because he's another android like them. And Cell knows this too. He has one shot here. He lunges at Android 18, trying to absorb her. 16 realizes Cell's a threat, but by the time he gets ready to attack, it's already too late. Android 18's partially absorbed, and if 16 tries to attack Cell, he's going to be attacking her too. So he watches as she's fully absorbed and Cell transforms, becoming semi-perfect. A very brief fight then takes place between 16 and Cell, with 16 dying here. This is great. All he needs now is Android 17. He'll just have to find where he went. Meanwhile, far away from here, Raditz continues his brutal training session with Gohan, and he finally has a breakthrough. Just like the rest of the Saiyans, Gohan's hair begins to turn golden. Although, now Raditz is kind of worried. Yeah, he drew out the power like he wanted, but he didn't really think of what he'd do after the fact. You know, to calm Gohan down and defeat him. For the first time, Gohan becomes a Super Saiyan. And the worst part is, he's completely berserk just like Goku was the first time he transformed. Kami briefly battles Android 17, and realizes that he can't win here. But it's also very clear now that Cell isn't with Android 17, and he tries to sense what's going on. He could feel Cell's power rapidly increasing. 17 can't feel this, but Kami relays it to him. He doesn't think 16 and 18 are going to win that fight, and Kami didn't even realize that they'd be fighting in the first place. He nervously chuckles, telling 17 that it looks like they have a common enemy. 17 doesn't buy any bit of this, but Kami then places a hand on him, teleporting him to the lookout, because Kami also wants to see what's going on, and the 2 of them look from up there, seeing Android 18 is nowhere to be seen, and they see a scrapped Android 16 nearby, as Cell is transforming, now in his semi-perfect state. Neither of them has a clue of what happened, but given the fact that Kami knows Cell could absorb people, maybe absorbing Android 18 helped him grow. Something about her being an android helped him do this. But he didn't realize that part. He didn't know that Cell was going after the androids, he just knew that Cell could absorb people and wanted to kill Goku. And of course 17 can't believe what he's witnessing either. 18 is dead. Or at the very least part of Cell now. And if Kami's theory is true, that means 17 will be the next target. Cell begins searching for Kami in Android 17. He doesn't really know much about Kami compared to everybody else, especially now with Kami's new powers. But more importantly, he can't find the lookout right now, which will buy everybody some time. Raditz and Nappa then arrive on the lookout. Kami called everybody up here, and they also sense that increase in power. Vegeta and Trunks arrive not too long after, with a now recovered Goku arriving alongside Gohan. First off, the elephant in the room. Kami explains what happened to him. Although he kinda regrets doing it right now because they don't have the Dragon Balls at the moment, but he can create a new set if they really need it. Besides, Shenron does deserve some upgrades. He thought him getting involved in this fight would help, but really, it didn't. But Trunks thanks him because he knew nothing about Cell. Kami getting involved actually did help because otherwise they wouldn't have known about him. Sure, Kami wasn't able to defeat him or any of the androids, but Kami gave them a huge amount of info that they didn't know before. And he has Android 17 up here. 17 has no clue what he wants to do. Part of him wants to fight Cell, but part of him also knows that's a ridiculous idea. He can't. If he defeated Android 18 and 16 that quickly, and is now stronger than before, there's no way he stands a chance. Goku has an idea though. First off, Android 17 should join them. If the Cell guy really is after him, then why not stay on their side? And Trunks doesn't really know about this idea, but Goku says the androids haven't really done anything too crazy yet, and given all the changes so far, maybe they have changed compared to the other timeline. The human fighters are up here too. Krillin agrees with Goku. And besides, what options does Android 17 have? It would be mutually beneficial for them to work together, or at the very least, call a temporary truce. If 17 doesn't work with them, what's he gonna do, fight Cell? He'll die and then just make Cell even stronger. 17 is a bargaining chip right now. As long as they know where he is and can keep him safe from Cell, they'll be fine. But Cell's power does concern them. Raditz mentions if Cell has the DNA of everybody, that should mean he has Goku's power, which means he has the same exact mutation. And that would explain why he's so strong compared to everybody. But he still hasn't displayed his full power yet. Raditz did briefly sense Goku's energy, but it made no sense because he was near Goku the entire time. So that definitely is a part of Cell that could flare up at any moment. Goku has a pretty simple plan though. Use the Room of Spirit and Time. They're each going to take turns training in there, and then they can go and fight Cell together. But Nappa questions why Goku doesn't just go to fight himself. Surely he should be strong enough to fight Cell. Well, Goku says he's not too sure. He didn't get to see Cell's previous form, but at his current power, Goku thinks Cell is actually above him. Although it's nothing a bit of training can't fix. He's confident that with just 1 year in the Room of Spirit and Time, he'll get a full grasp on his full power, and he'll be able to get Gohan to do the same. And even one of them alone will be enough to defeat Cell. It might even be overkill, but that's assuming Cell stays as he is. They need to keep Android 17 safe. Vegeta says he's going in first, and he goes in with Trunks. The rest of the group stays on the outside, waiting on the lookout trying to figure out what to do next as Kami monitors everything with Cell. And just to be safe, Kami does create a new Shenron, but doesn't activate him just yet. Once Cell's defeated, he'll activate the new Shenron, and he'll make a wish to revive everyone killed by Cell. With Kami's new upgrade in power, Shenron's even stronger too, and he can do 3 wishes. Normally Kami wouldn't do something like this, but given the dire circumstances, it is worth it to recreate the Dragon Balls after just having made a wish. Also, given the fact that they kinda need a stronger Shenron now with Kami being stronger. But there still is something Goku needs to ask Trunks. Thankfully he only has to wait a day. Vegeta and Trunks exit the Room of Spirit and Time, and Vegeta decides they're gonna fight Cell. Trunks thinks it's a really bad idea, but Vegeta wants to at least test out how strong Cell is. Although Trunks doubts it's gonna do much, he's gonna be careful. Before they go, Goku asks Trunks something. What happened with future Gohan? He never really went into detail about it before. He just mentioned that he knew Gohan and Gohan ended up dying. But why did he die? Doesn't he have the same type of power as Goku? How is that not enough to defeat the androids? Trunks explains. There is kind of another reason. Future Gohan ended up getting Super Saiyan later on than normal, and he died earlier than normal. The first time he became a Super Saiyan was also the last time he became a Super Saiyan. Trunks didn't tell Goku this because he actually never got to see a lot of this. He didn't have a lot of info to go off of. He explains more of what happened. Gohan and Trunks were pretty close, with Gohan training Trunks a lot too. Although, Gohan didn't really get Super Saiyan right away. Often they would fight off the androids, but something was holding Gohan back. And it wasn't really intentional, he just couldn't handle what was going on. At one point they had a bad fight. Trunks was defeated and nearly killed, but Gohan was able to save him, getting him out of the way and then fighting the androids on his own. Gohan was pushed to his limits and ended up transforming, going completely berserk too. Trunks didn't see any of this, but Gohan didn't just become a normal Super Saiyan. He went into that full power state that Goku's trying to control. Goku had trouble controlling regular Super Saiyan the first time he transformed, so it makes sense that Gohan would have trouble controlling that stage of it. Gohan always knew he had that type of power within him, but always feared it too, because if he used this to defeat the androids, what would happen next? He would go on a rampage if he couldn't control it. And that's exactly what happened. When he transformed, he went on a rampage. He fought blindly and didn't even really do anything against the androids. He injured them a bit, but they played it smart. They were coherent, and they had infinite stamina. All they had to do was avoid Gohan and let him wear himself out, because at some point, that's exactly what happened. With all of his injuries and his power running wild, Gohan was eventually tapped out of power completely. They played the long game here, and it ended up working perfectly fine for them. Sure, it was a bit terrifying at first with Gohan's power, but they worked around it pretty quick. And as much as they loved playing around with Gohan, they knew he was too big of a threat to keep around, especially after transforming like this. They were able to kill him here. Gohan transforming would have worked perfectly fine if his power was tamed, and if he wasn't injured already. But just like Goku and him fearing his own transformation here, Gohan of course feared the same thing. He didn't know how to unlock this power, and more importantly how to tame it if he did unlock it. Especially after hearing what happened with Goku when he first transformed, he was really scared. He could have been a bigger threat than the androids. Because sure, he would have been able to kill the androids, but what would happen after? Would he end up destroying himself and Earth in the process? He had no way of knowing and no way of training further. Trunks didn't get to see a lot of this. What he tells Goku is that after the fight ended, he woke up. He was unconscious, but he did feel Gohan's power while he was out. But by the time he got over there, the androids were already gone and it was too late. Gohan was dead. and this was the catalyst for Trunks turning Super Saiyan. So Trunks became a Super Saiyan earlier on, but of course at a cost. And while he barely was able to sense the power because he was unconscious, still, he felt it. It was that powerful, and it was exceptional. It's almost like Gohan's power stuck with him, like it left a stain on his brain. That's how potent it was. Well, Goku thanks Trunks for that. Sure, Trunks didn't know much of what went on, but Goku fills in the pieces and assumes what happened there. Both he and Gohan will be perfectly fine. They're going to tame this power completely. Goku's already made great strides. And especially because future Gohan didn't get that same type of training that Goku gave Gohan here. He's already ahead of where he should be. He already displayed some level of control, and thanks to Raditz, they know a little bit more about his power. Goku needs to harness his full power, and Gohan needs to control Super Saiyan and then harness his full power. Vegeta tells Trunks they're leaving now, and the two jump off the lookout, with Raditz and Nappa heading into the time chamber next. They're doing this order because it's better for Goku and Gohan to stay up here and defend, in case Cell tries to attack 17 or something. 17 still doesn't understand why they're doing this to protect him. Sure, he gets it's mutually beneficial, but after they just tried to kill them? Kami says he could see what 17 is. He's a victim of Droz too. Sure, he's bad. He's misguided right now. And really, they're only teaming up because of a common enemy. But still, Kami can literally see the goodness within people if he needs to, looking into their minds or hearts. Besides, most of the people around him were once enemies of Goku, as well as himself. And look at Kami himself too. Part of him used to be his arch nemesis. He's only as strong as he is right now because he isn't perfect. He isn't purely good like he was before. The only two pure-hearted people up here are Goku and Gohan, and that's exactly why he's fine keeping 17 up here. Besides it being the smart choice, in Kami's eyes, there's nothing 17 has done to deserve death. He's already been up here a full day and he hasn't tried to attack anybody. Clearly he recognized the same stuff. 17 keeps to himself for the rest of the time, just hoping Cell doesn't get to him, and hoping he can bring Android 18 back. On the surface, Vegeta and Trunks fight Cell, showing off Super Vegeta and Super Trunks. At first, Vegeta fights alone but can't win, and Trunks joins in, which kinda pisses Vegeta off. But Cell shows off more of his own power, being surrounded by that same green aura that Goku has. They can sense Goku's side of him flare up. It feels like an evil version of Goku's right in front of them. The two don't know what they're gonna do here, but Kami then teleports down to the surface, with Goku also alongside him. And before Cell attacks, he stops. Kami grabs onto Trunks and Vegeta, teleporting them back up to the lookout, with Goku staring down Cell. He can tell Cell desires battle a lot, doesn't he? The two are similar in that sense. He tells Cell straight up, right now they don't have the power to fight him, but if he gives them a few days, they'll be able to. They'll give him the battle of his life. He even shows off his full power form. He doesn't have perfect control of it, and it's really hard to maintain right now, but it gives Cell a gauge of his power. Goku says this is his limit right now, but trust him. Just give him another few days, and he'll be way beyond this level. And Cell decides, yeah, he'll accept that. If Vegeta and Trunks got that much stronger that quickly, he's sure Goku can too. Of course, Vegeta and Trunks weren't really a challenge for him, but he sensed their power beforehand when they first fought the androids. They have grown, but he only gives Goku 3 extra days. After that, he'll do what he wants. He'll kill Goku and everybody around him. In the meantime, he'll continue looking for Android 17. He'll be perfect by the time they fight. Kami then comes back down there, teleporting Goku away again. Vegeta's really pissed because he wanted to fight, but Trunks tries to calm him down. They would have died there if they kept fighting. And Vegeta says he doesn't care about that. It would have at least been a warrior's death. And Trunks says that's true, but it would have been a stupid death. And Goku decides to talk to Vegeta. Can Vegeta beat a Super Saiyan like him right now? And Goku's not trying to brag or anything. He's just trying to remind Vegeta what he's up against. Goku transforms into his full power state once again. Vegeta sensed it when Goku just transformed right now, but feeling it again up close? It's unbelievable. Kakarot is still above him, and he's gonna go into the Room of Spirit and Time next. Who knows how strong he'll get after the fact? Vegeta curses it all, and goes off on his own. Still staying on the lookout, but getting away from everybody. Goku's not doing this to demoralize him, just to remind him of what they're up against. And as much as Vegeta hates to admit it, he realizes that Kakarot's right. He can't even defeat Kakarot right now, so how would he defeat Cell? It's a fruitless endeavor, and maybe Trunks is right. Sure, it would be a warrior's death, but why die right now? Why not get even stronger, and then fight Cell later on? Or even better, get strong enough to surpass Kakarot. He has more to live for, and more that he could achieve. Cell is genetically advantaged just like Goku is. They do both have the same mutation after all. Raditz and Nappa exit the Room of Spirit and Time, with Goku then entering with Gohan. Raditz and Nappa have also achieved Super Saiyan Grade 2 and even Grade 3 by now. Raditz is pretty happy with himself because, sure, he knows he's not the strongest in the group, but he's already passed Nappa. Next is Vegeta. He's been bettering himself a lot more recently. He's way more confident in his abilities, and he knows Goku's advantage, but still, no matter what it takes, no matter how much blood, sweat, and tears he has to shed, he will surpass Goku. Goku was the one to teach Raditz that hard work is everything. Goku here is gifted, sure, but he still is a hard worker, and while Raditz isn't gifted like Goku, at the very least, he could still be a hard worker like Goku. He may be an average low-class warrior without any mutations, but he can become so much more than that. That won't define him going forward. A few hours pass. Goku and Gohan are still in the time chamber, but somebody arrives on the lookout, forcing his way up there. It's Cell. Kami tried to turn him away, but Cell basically forced his way through. He has too much power for Kami to hold back. Usually Kami can decide who comes to the lookout and who doesn't, and especially with his power right now, there's not really anyone that can get past him, besides Cell. 17 quickly hides. Thankfully he has no ki to sense. But Cell's not stupid. He knows 17 is up here. He was last seen with Kami after all, and Kami was just teleporting everybody around. Surely they all have to be grouped together. He sees Vegeta and Trunks again too. He tells them not to worry, he's not going to kill them. He would rather fight everybody at once in a few days because, soon enough, he will be perfect. With one laser from each of his eyes, he blasts Trunks and Vegeta off the lookout. Nappa and Raditz then rush over at him, but he does the same, telling them again that they don't need to fight right now. He just wants to keep them away so he could find Android 17. Cell then turns to Kami, telling him not to worry. That pep talk from Goku was really good. For the time being, he's decided he's not going to kill Goku. He doesn't know where Goku is right now, but he'd rather let Goku grow. With all of this power, none of the people here could challenge him, besides Goku. Why would he want to kill the only person that can give him a fun challenge? He walks around the lookout, even passing by Ten, Krillin, and Yamcha who just look on in fear. The Saiyans all fly back up, but before they could do anything, Android 17 then steps out, holding a hand to his chest. Cell was about to discover him anyways, so there's no point in hiding. If Cell gets any closer, he'll detonate himself. And Cell chuckles, so he's figured it out. Cell's here to absorb him, just like he did with Android 18. To catch 17 off guard, he then imitates Android 18's voice, telling him to join. Assimilate with Cell, and this briefly does catch 17 off guard, with Cell then stretching an arm out, quickly breaking 17's arm and taking it away from his chest. Telekinetically he restrains Android 17, stretching out his tail to absorb him. Everyone watches on with complete fear as Cell begins to transform into his perfect state. And once more he reminds them, they're not going to die here. He has no need to fight them. He just wants to grow strong enough for his battle with Goku. For the time being, don't worry about death. That's not going to happen until after he beats Goku. Just sensing Cell's power alone makes their blood curdle. He slowly and casually walks to the edge of the lookout, and then turns back, waving at them. He'll see them in a few days. He'll even set up a nice arena for them to fight in. Goku and Gohan exit the time chamber, with both of them being in Super Saiyan, at least what appears to be Super Saiyan. It's that green-haired form Goku's using. They both learned to master Super Saiyan at its full strength. The others can't believe what they're seeing either. They're using it so effortlessly. They can't even do this with regular Super Saiyan yet. Goku and Gohan get confirmation that Cell became perfect, although they already assumed that. Not that it matters too much. They're ready for this fight, and they're confident that they could win. Gohan, of course, has learned to control his form, but as for Goku, he thinks he himself is going to be enough. Also, he did see a bit of Gohan's anger in the time chamber, and he doesn't really want Gohan to go berserk. So just in case, it's better if Goku starts out the fight on his own. The two are pretty similar. They both get power boosts from rage. The difference is, Gohan has a much shorter fuse, and his power seems to be more explosive. Despite Goku's strength also coming from rage, he's controlled that completely. As for Gohan, he's controlled the form, but not necessarily his rage. Goku can summon his full power with no issues and not go berserk. As for Gohan, he's fine as is, but if something sets him off, who knows what's going to happen. Cell is waiting for the two of them, and when the time comes, they go to the arena to fight Cell. The first fight is between Goku and Cell, and right off the bat, it becomes pretty explosive. Goku's controlling his power so well, it doesn't even seem like he's in that green-haired form. Usually when he's using that, his power runs wild, but now Goku's made it a lot more efficient, and his control over it is a lot more nuanced. Cell's pretty surprised at his growth too. Well, it's only natural that Goku can get this strong. But this does impress him too, and it's giving him a pretty fun battle as well. Cell's primary advantage is the fact that he can regenerate. The issue with him is, he doesn't have the same control over this power that Goku does. Goku's grown with it, he's evolved it. Cell has huge reserves of power but doesn't know how to fully utilize them, and he probably is prone to the same rage issues that Goku had earlier. Goku recognizes Cell as a huge threat, especially with the things I just mentioned, but for once in a while he actually has an opponent that can challenge him. So he's gonna enjoy it for a bit, but he makes it a point to finish this as well. He can't let Cell get angry, otherwise he might be too volatile, and his power would be uncontrollable. Goku starts taking the fight even more seriously, causing Cell to draw out all of his strength, and Goku could feel it in his ki. Cell's drawn out all his power and he's at its limit. If he pushes Cell even further, he might go completely berserk. They need to avoid that. So instead of fighting even further, which might antagonize him, Goku decides to finish him, charging a Kamehameha, with Cell deciding to do the same. It looks like Goku's giving up at the sight of his full power. He'd love to see how Goku handles this blast. They each launch a Kamehameha at each other, and the two beams clash with immense power. It feels like everything around them is shaking. The arena that they were once standing on is now completely vaporized, and everyone watching nearby is blown back, besides Gohan who's already powered up. And as Gohan's watching, he could see that the two of them are pretty much even right now. This worries him, but he's prepared for it. If Goku and Cell are equal right now, then all Goku needs is someone else to help him out. He lets the beam clash go on a bit longer, and then he gets a signal from Goku. Now's the time to act. They planned for this in the time chamber. Goku did want to fight Cell alone, but if things got too hectic, he said that he wanted Gohan to join him. Again, it's too risky to let him run loose like this. Goku is a lot more cautious about things like that here, especially with a villain that has his own power. He knows from previous experiences that this could be a bad thing. So, as much as he would love a 1v1 and just to test Cell's power, he reluctantly decides to do this. Gohan jumps in with Goku, launching his own Kamehameha. Their beams combine and completely overwhelm Cell's. He puts more power into his, even going berserk for a brief moment. Just as Goku predicted, but it's not enough. Thanks to Gohan joining in, Cell is completely overwhelmed. And before his uncontrolled rage is completely unleashed, he's swallowed up whole by the two Kamehamehas, with every little bit of him destroyed. Trunks can't believe it. They did it, and Gohan even controlled his power. It's amazing because with future Gohan he was never able to do that, but this Gohan has perfectly controlled it, so has Goku. It makes him happy. Sure, things might have gone bad in the future, but Trunks rectified it here. Plus, he's gotten stronger. He could probably take on the androids in his timeline. And if not, well, they did prepare. They did get the idea of raiding and destroying Jiro's lab, which not only prevents Cell from coming in this timeline, but also gives Trunks the self-destruct remote. And future Bulma could probably tweak it so it works on those androids if it doesn't already. Raditz watches on happily too. His training paid off. He knew he probably wouldn't fight here against Cell, but still, he's bettering himself. And it's weird. He hasn't really felt this before, but he feels kind of proud of Goku and Gohan. After all, he did train Gohan a bit. It's a strange feeling for him. He's never experienced anything like it. He's proud of his younger brother, not just proud of himself. He's above Nappa now, and next he's going to overtake Vegeta. Vegeta does still feel left behind. Nappa's kind of accepted all this by now, but as for Vegeta, he's getting really competitive. He knows Goku and Gohan are gifted, but still, he got surpassed by a kid. And Kakarot is so unreachable now. Plus, Raditz and Kami are closing in on his level too. And he couldn't do anything against Cell. It makes him feel weak. He really doesn't know how to feel about this. What happens now? Well, Kami has the Dragon Balls prepared, and they could revive everyone killed by Cell. This does include the androids too. It's a shame. Kami could see that those androids weren't really as bad as they were in Trunks' timeline. Despite barely knowing Android 17, Kami observed him and he saw that he wasn't some pure evil monster. He and 18 were victims to Jiro. He recognizes that he might be too empathetic here, but as Earth's guardian, it is his responsibility to watch over everyone too. And at the end of the day, these two are his subjects and he ended up being right about them thankfully. And of course the Dragon Balls are stronger too thanks to Kami being stronger. This is a completely new set now. Trunks returns to his timeline, thanking everyone for their help. And he's able to defeat the androids there as well as prepare for Cell. Even though the imperfect Cell that he's going to counter will be much stronger, it's not something Trunks can't handle. It'll be a tougher battle, but he's prepared for it going forward. And he doesn't stop training. Now we enter the 7-year time skip. Goten is born. And everyone around Goku realized that he probably will be a freak in terms of power as well. So they need to get on fixing that right away. Kami's actually the one who ends up training Trunks and Goten. Mainly he wants to make sure Goten doesn't lose control, but it's also good for the two of them to have someone to train under. Goku and Vegeta of course work with them too. Vegeta continuously pushes himself, same for the other two. Raditz is slowly pulling ahead. Nappa doesn't stop, but he's number 3 and he's kind of accepted that by now. Raditz on the other hand knows he can be the strongest with hard work alone. Well, maybe not above Kakarot or Gohan, but still, he could be the strongest of these 3. At some point they do discover Super Saiyan 2, with Goku and Gohan also getting it for themselves as well. And it becomes their own version of Super Saiyan 2. It's much more potent and, of course, green. It's not the same one that the others have. It's essentially an ascended state of their full power form. At the end of the time skip, we arrive at the tournament before the Buu Saga. And pretty much right off the bat, Kami can tell something is amiss. He can instantly pick out the Kais in the crowd and realizes that something's going on. He's also pretty terrified about this too because why are those two here? Goku's never seen Kami this fearful. But this tips everyone off about the Kais, although Kami tells them to not intervene. If the Kais do anything, don't question it, just go along with it. And then Kami watches as energy is drained from Gohan, with the Kais helping to make sure that it gets drained. Now he kinda regrets what he said before because what the hell are they planning here? This part goes somewhat like normal. Gohan still did meet Videl, she entered the tournament, she fought Spobovich, and now Gohan fought Kibito. Spobovich and Yamu get a ton of power from him, and as the two fly off, Goku almost goes to stop them, but Shin then urges him to hold back, just wait for a bit. The Kais fill everyone in on what's going on, and they have a pretty big group going over to Babidi's ship. It's Goku, Gohan, Kami, Vegeta, Raditz, and Nappa. They don't really need any more than this. When they arrive at the ship, Dabura tries to attack right away, almost killing Kibito, but Gohan jumps in the way, taking his attack with no issue. He starts fighting Dabura and pretty quickly pulls ahead, beating him with not much effort, as the rest go towards the ship. They need to work really fast because Shin didn't know that Gohan had that much power. With the amount Spobovich and Yamu stole, who knows, it might be enough to revive Buu. It turns out, that's actually the case. Babidi is elated when he gets this energy. This is the exact amount he needs. And while everyone makes it through the ship, he feeds the energy to Boo's egg. And just as they make it to Babidi's location, it's already too late. He teleports everyone outside of the ship, and Boo is unleashed. Shin and Kibito are stricken with complete fear. They didn't think it would go like this. They didn't plan for Gohan having that much power to steal. Well, it's kind of their fault for a stupid plan, but thankfully, Goku's not too concerned. And Kami notices this. He could tell Boo's a monster. Just from his ki alone, this guy is going to be a huge threat. But then he remembers who he's talking to. It's Goku. Raditz butts in, and he's surprisingly cool-headed. Yeah, that Majin Buu guy seems terrifying. Raditz would love to fight him, but he knows he's going to lose instantly. But he thinks Goku and Gohan have got this. Even one of them will be enough to fight Buu. Shin and Kibito urge everyone to take this seriously, but then Vegeta butts in. No, Raditz is actually right. If it were just these three Saiyans, it would be a really tough battle. But with Kakarot, they've got a pretty clear victor there. Nappa says there is one way they could help though. Babidi is too preoccupied with Buu that he doesn't even notice. Nappa looks over at him, flicks a hand up, blowing up the ground below Babidi, injuring Buu a bit and completely decimating Babidi in the process. Goku barely jumped out of the way in time. Not that it would have hurt much, but he tells Nappa to be a little bit more careful. He chuckles and apologizes. He got a bit too far ahead of himself. But at least he got to take out that cockroach freak. Goku's fight with Buu begins. And it's pretty clear right away that Goku's stronger. And after taking damage from Nappa's attack, Buu regenerates and Goku can tell that he can regenerate just like Cell. That's not a problem for him. He just needs to erase every little bit of Buu. He spends some time fighting, holding back, and enjoying it, because once more, it's a rare opportunity where he has a strong opponent that can match him. Over the 7 years, he's kind of solved this issue by sparring with Gohan a bit, but Gohan isn't always available for that, and Gohan's not having death matches with him. Sure, some of the matches get serious, but they're never like this. Although Goku's a bit disappointed. After hearing Shin hype up Buu that much, he thought he'd be a little bit more. He's pretty clearly a powerful opponent, but not one that Goku can't beat. Shin urges Goku to destroy him immediately. He's an agent of pure evil. He goes up to Super Saiyan 2 full power, and with a single blast he finishes it off. He says he wished he got to fight Buu more. Hopefully, Buu comes back as a good fighter. And, just like that, the Buu saga happened and ended. By this point, Goku and Gohan are so strong that Buu isn't even a problem. Had he absorbed one of them, yeah, that would have been an issue, but there's no way he could have. Once more, Goku cements his spot as the strongest. A few months go by, and a new visitor arrives on Earth. It's Beerus. He set his alarm a bit earlier because Oracle Fish told him to set it around this time instead. He also did have a dream about some rival he'd fight, so he's looking forward to that. This ended up leading him to Earth, where he meets Goku for the first time. From what Whis told him, he apparently defeated Frieza, and he's some sort of mutated Saiyan, far stronger than a normal one. Not to mention, he's a Super Saiyan. So Beerus asks him to showcase that power. First he goes into Super Saiyan full power, and then eventually Super Saiyan 2 full power. Beerus is pretty impressed. For a mortal, yeah, this is pretty strong. Still, it's nowhere near close to him. For comparison, this Goku in Super Saiyan full power is far above Super Saiyan 3 Battle of Gods Goku, despite this being earlier in the story, and despite this being the full power version of regular Super Saiyan, not Super Saiyan 3. Although, he's not on the level of Super Saiyan God Goku here. When Beerus asks about this form, they know nothing about it. But Kami has a good idea. He asks Shenron. Shenron explains the ritual, and they actually do have more than enough Saiyan. Although, Goku doesn't really like the prospect of being handed power like this, especially because Beerus was already impressed with his regular power. He'd rather work for something higher than what he currently has. Beerus is getting pretty antsy and he really wants to see a Super Saiyan God. So reluctantly, Goku's about to accept this, but someone else steps in. The other three Saiyans feel the exact same about this, but this is a chance to level the playing field. So one of them volunteers. It's Raditz. His brother is gifted, but he could be strong too. He also agrees with Goku. He would rather train for his power. Hard work has gotten him so far already, but how often do they get to become gods? And besides, Raditz will take a metaphorical bullet for him here and do the ritual in his stead. And Goku thanks him for that. He agrees with this, but only under one condition. Raditz will fight him after he fights Beerus. And Raditz is perfectly fine with that. Nappa, Vegeta, Goku, Gohan, and Goten get into the ritual, with Raditz at the center of it. Surprisingly, the first Super Saiyan God this time, it's Raditz. Everyone else looks on in awe, although they can't even really sense that power. But still, they could tell he's become something completely different by now. And Goku's really excited to see what his brother's capable of now. The fight between Beerus and Raditz begins. Raditz is actually around Goku's current power, which is pretty impressive considering where Goku is right now. And this goes to show how strong Goku really is because he's as strong as a Super Saiyan God at the moment. So imagine what would happen if he got the ritual done on him instead. We'll see him with a God Key soon enough though. Raditz's fight with Beerus ends pretty much how you'd expect it. Beerus ends up winning. The main event is Goku versus Raditz. Goku's amazed with how much his brother has grown. He can't actually sense how strong Raditz is, but just from that fight alone, he can see how much faster he's grown, and the pressure from his aura alone is enough to tell him how strong he is. Even though he can't fully sense that power, a battle will definitely be enough to gauge it. The battle between the two of them is really close, and Raditz ends up accidentally losing Super Saiyan God, then transforming into a Super Saiyan after the fact. He's grown far stronger, but it still isn't enough to actually overcome Goku completely. At least not at first. The battle ends and Raditz ends up being the victor, but it was way too close for comfort for him. He still can't believe he did that, although he is a little bit unfulfilled because he did have to cheat to get this power. At least that's how he views it. But Beerus did want to see a Super Saiyan God, and this way he'll be on an even playing field with his brother now. The main reason he wanted to do this was to train with Kakarot. Kakarot as a training partner will be the best way to get ahead. And even though a ritual was required for this, going forward, Raditz can grow with purely hard work alone. Raditz always felt like he was holding Kakarot back, like whenever they trained, he had to dial back his power significantly. And Goku did notice this too, and he didn't really mind. Although he did hope to have a stronger opponent one day. Really the only person close to his level was Gohan. Not in terms of skill, but in terms of power. Now Raditz actually does match that. Raditz has wanted that for a while, and Goku's glad it turned out this way. Eventually, Raditz does go to see Beerus on his own, and Goku joins not long after because Beerus is interested in how strong he can grow, because even without the power of a Super Saiyan God, he was contending with one. Now Beerus is really curious as to how strong he'd be with Godly Ki, although Goku says he doesn't want to do the ritual for himself. If he can gain the form some other way, he'll do that. Either way, Beerus is pleased because he has two rivals, one who actually is a Super Saiyan God, and one who's probably going to become one soon enough. And for the latter, he's going to be really strong. As for Vegeta and Nappa, they're basically blindsided. Damn. They really should have tried the ritual on themselves. There aren't enough Saiyans right now though, only 5 at the moment. If Goku and Raditz come back, sure they could do that, but first of all, they don't really want to do that, and second of all, even if they did decide to do that as a last resort, right now they don't have enough people. There's no Pan yet, and Nappa never had kids, same for Raditz. So it's just these two, Gohan, Goten, and Trunks. And now that I mention it, what have Nappa and Raditz been up to? As for Nappa, he's living the life of a bachelor. He's considered a relationship, but he doesn't actively seek it. By now, he's more than adjusted to Earth. Capsule Corp does actually employ him and Raditz, because they didn't have a job for a while, and also, they technically never existed because, well, there's no record of them ever being here on Earth. This way they get an income, and now they legally exist too, since they didn't before. The two have taken up security jobs there, and they're really good at it. But this also keeps them close to everyone, and gives them access to training facilities at Capsule Corp. Vegeta lucked out though. He's Bulma's husband, and he doesn't even need to work for this money. Raditz also is a bachelor too, and his whole life is dedicated to being a warrior at this point. Plus, it's directly linked to his career, so him getting stronger is also good for that career. Not that they're going to encounter any threats like that at Capsule Corp. This is basically just a nonsense job Bulma made for them, but now Capsule Corp has the best security in the world because of that. And it kind of fits for them. They were essentially mercenaries for the Frieza Force before, and this is no different. This is just way more ethical, and they're actually compensated fairly. Nice. Anyways, Vegeta and Nappa now decide what they need to do next. The next time Beerus comes to Earth, they need to find a way to impress him enough so he lets them come to his planet. And Vegeta has the perfect idea. He goes to Gohan. They're gonna train. Right now. Gohan's not really sure what to think, but okay, that might be fun, and it's gonna be mutually beneficial. They can get stronger, and he could sharpen his skills. There is another really strong warrior on Earth though, that of course being Kami. So what could he do to go beyond his current limits? Well, the encounter with Beerus was pretty interesting, because Shenron mentioned something about the Namekian Book of Legends. He didn't do this right away, but after that ritual, it got him thinking. Maybe he should try and find out what that is. He does want to be the best guardian possible after all, not just in terms of power, but knowledge too. So he looks into it, deciding to pay his home planet a visit. It's a really interesting experience for him, getting more in touch with his history and his culture, but at the same time he learns a bunch. And he gets to spend a lot of time with Mori too, the current elder and guardian of this planet, learning a bunch from him as well. This way he could further improve his magic and his knowledge. And he spends day and night studying the book. He could just ask Shenron for this, but first of all, he doesn't really want to rely on Shenron again, and second of all, this is faster because Shenron is temporarily deactivated. This is immediately after Battle of Gods happened, so he needs to wait a bit for Shenron to come back anyways. Just like the people around him working for power, he's going to work for this knowledge. He's not taking a shortcut. In some of his free time, Gohan does train with Vegeta and Nappa. About a year after Battle of Gods, Beerus does come back to Earth, and they figure out a way to impress him, mainly by giving him great food, but they showcase a new power they have complete control over, Super Saiyan 3. Beerus isn't incredibly impressed with this, but he is glad that they grew a bunch. And it couldn't hurt to have more Saiyans on his planet. He doesn't want to have too many people there, but at the same time, more people training together means faster growth for everybody. Especially with how far above everyone Goku is, he might actually need 3 Super Saiyan gods fighting him. We fast forward some more, like a lot because we go to Resurrection F next. All that really happens over this time period is more training. Frieza's scouts have been watching Earth for a while, and they find out about the Dragon Balls there. In order to get revenge on Goku, they revive not just Frieza, but King Cold as well. And after some time training for them, they end up coming to Earth. That Saiyan was strong before as a Super Saiyan, But whether it be golden hair or green hair, it's not really going to matter to them. Frieza and Cold have spent half a year training, together too, so they've grown a lot. They've trained longer than Frieza and they've trained together. Although they did get tired of it at some point, so that's why they came to Earth now. Basically, the moment the army lands, they're instantly all defeated in one fell swoop by Kami. He teleports there instantly. When Shenron was summoned, he was actually off Earth back on planet Namek to study some more. And he regrets that because if he were on Earth, he would have instantly known what was going on. But it doesn't matter, he's here to rectify that now. He's the first one to actually arrive there. He closes his eyes, communicating with everyone else around Earth, seeing who else is there. There are a few of them available at the moment, so he simply lifts a finger up and they all teleport there. He's grown so good with magic and his other abilities by now that he could even teleport other people to him. He's a pretty formidable opponent. He's the smartest person on Earth. And he's one of the strongest as well as the most adept with magic, of course. One of the people who's helping out with the fight is Gohan. Gohan doesn't really know much about Frieza, but from what he heard about him, he knows that they should probably stop Frieza right away. But Frieza and Cold also know that they're probably outmatched here, at least in their suppressed states, so they don't hold anything back. Frieza and King Cold begin transforming, surrounded by a brilliant golden aura. They both have unlocked their own golden form. And Frieza asks if Goku's here, or Vegeta for that matter, or any of the other Saiyans. Gohan tells Frieza he's just gonna have to wait, they're not here right now. And Frieza has no clue who Gohan even is. But he then learns that it's Goku's son. Obviously his beef is with the other Saiyans. But fine, if they're not going to take this seriously and come here, he'll kill everyone one by one to give them some encouragement. Gohan says he's not really sure about that. He then powers up. His hair turns green and sparks of red and yellow electricity surround him. This is his current peak, his own mutated version of Super Saiyan 2. And Frieza notices another fighter there. He didn't teleport in immediately, but Kami then brings him in. He looks exactly like Goku. It's Goten. What is this, a joke? He has to fight Goku's spawn and not Goku himself? One of them's a literal child, what's he gonna do? But then Goten transforms, showing off the same exact form as Gohan. With how much time has passed, he definitely has control over this by now. He's not on Gohan's level, but still, he has that mutated full power version of Super Saiyan 2 that Goku and Gohan have. The fight ends pretty quickly. Goten takes on King Cold, and Gohan takes on Frieza. Frieza can't really do anything against Gohan. Gohan's surprised that he's grown as strong as he did, but it's not enough. As for King Cold, his fight with Goten is a little closer, but Goten completely overpowers him. King Cold has more skill, but it's not enough to make up for the gap in power. Kami, being Goten's teacher at some point, isn't really too sure about Goten fighting King Cold at first because it could be dangerous, but at the same time it could be a good test for him, and Gohan believes that he has this in the bag. And he does. It takes a little bit of effort, but he's able to win here pretty quickly. He definitely needs to refine his skills a little more, but in terms of strength, Kami is amazed to see a kid that strong. No one on Beerus' planet hears about this because, honestly, they don't need to do anything here. But what's up with them by this point? With how much time has passed, not only did Vegeta and Nappa get Super Saiyan God for themselves, but those two and Raditz have Super Saiyan Blue by now. As for Goku, it's a little bit of a weird case. His development is slower, mainly because of how unique his form is. He was able to get Super Saiyan God for himself at first, and then he tried to go beyond that by making his own Super Saiyan Blue. But it was a weird process because the two powers were contradictory. The calmness and purity of Super Saiyan God mixed with the anger in his full power form. Every time he tried to combine it, they just canceled each other out. Even without combining it with his other forms, Super Saiyan God was really strong right off the bat. But eventually he figured out a way to manifest both powers at once. His hair ends up being a pale greenish blue color, with shining dark blue eyes. As for a name for this form, I was going to say just Legendary God, but we never used the term Legendary Super Saiyan in this What If. And I did make Legendary God in another What If. I also considered Wrathful God, but I also used something similar in another What If as well. So I'll just come up with a similar name for this. This form is Raging God Goku, a form that manifests his power from anger as well as his calmness. A completely harmonic form for him. The Universe 6 tournament eventually rolls around, and as you'd expect, it's probably going to be a wash here. As for the team, it's going to be the 4 Saiyans and Kami. But that's just incredibly overkill, and there's no way that Universe 6 is winning this one. Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz all have Super Saiyan Blue. Of those 3, Raditz is actually the strongest now, thanks to him having a nice head start, and also training with Goku for longer. For Universe 6, facing these 3 is bad enough on its own. But then there's Kami, who's completely unpredictable. He has so many different ways of fighting by now that it's really hard to counter him. His strength is actually on par with the Super Saiyan Blues. He's even renovated the time chamber and has gone in there a bunch. He's upgraded it so he's not limited to just a few days in there. And on top of that, he is eternally youthful now too. So he could train in the Room of Spirit and Time as long as he wants. He won't die from old age and the door won't close on him. So he actually might be the biggest threat here besides Goku. And obviously as for Goku, well, he doesn't even get the chance to fight here, but if he did, come on, what are they going to do against him? Universe 7 is incredibly stacked now, and this doesn't even include Gohan and Goten. Their universe is truly something else. But after it happens, Zamasu ends up watching the tournament. Goku never even got a chance to fight, but in the alternate timeline that he's from, Zamasu actually does encounter Goku, pretty much like it happened normally. That, combined with everything he saw in the tournament and the fact that there's a time traveler, that all disgusts him. And to think, Kami, the guardian of Earth, in Zamasu's eyes, yes, he's a divine being, but why is he that strong? He's above the Kais in his own universe. Zamasu hates seeing all of this. Eventually, a familiar face returns to Capsule Corp. Trunks is back. His timeline briefly was safe, and he did have the time machine still, but he had to face a horrifying opponent, Goku, and he knew that he stood no chance. He attempted to fight Goku before, but as much as it pained him, he knew that his only real option was retreat, so he laid low for as long as he could, and when he had to, he bought time by just distracting Goku a bit. But he never directly fought him. He tried to grow stronger, but he knew he could never get to that level, and that leads him to where he is now. He's back in the past, hoping that this will somehow rectify it. However, he's dragging someone else to the past with him too. A doppelganger of Goku arrives through a portal. Goku Black is here. Upon seeing Goku Black, Goku immediately realizes that he needs to finish this quickly. He's not sure if this guy just looks like him or actually is him in some way. But whatever the case may be, this kinda seems like Cell all over again, as in there's a villain with power similar to his, and he can't just stand around and do nothing. Goku obviously does want to have a good fight with him, but at the same time he realizes the danger here. But first he gauges Goku Black's power and realizes that's actually the case. Somehow, someway, this guy does have his powers, which is immediately a red flag. He can't let him grow any further. There is a very brief battle and Goku ends up being the winner. But when Goku's about to land the kill shot, a portal appears, dragging Goku Black back through. Thankfully he doesn't destroy the time machine, but it still does need to be refueled. He's too preoccupied and injured to even think about that. But as he's pulled back through the portal, something unexpected happens. Basically on instinct, Goku powers all the way up. The portal is only here to pull Goku Black back into it. But Goku tries something that he doubts is going to work, although it ends up actually working. Through sheer power alone, he rips open the portal again, following Goku Black through it as it closes. Again, this was purely off of instinct. He didn't actually plan to do this, nor did he think it would work. Without realizing it, Goku just ripped through time and space on accident. Not just breaking dimensions, but breaking timelines. And the hole in time doesn't close. Beerus is there nearby and he freaks out. Goku's gonna destroy everything, but Whis says he's got it. He flies up to the portal and looks through it. Seeing both Gokus there, equally confused. Whis asks Goku if he wants to come back, but Goku says he's gonna finish this on his own. Although Whis warns him, don't do that again, that's way too dangerous. But as he closes up the portal, he sees someone else appear nearby. Zamasu teleports in next to Goku Black. Surprised to see Goku's also here too. Whis notes this, and Zamasu realizes he was just spotted. He shouldn't have teleported in just now. This immediately prompts Beerus and Whis to go speak with Gowasu. They put two and two together really quickly. Trunks spends time with Vegeta, Raditz, and Nappa, as Bulma refuels the time machine. Looks like they're just gonna have to wait for Goku to come back. So, right off the bat, events are already altered. Goku never met Zamasu in his timeline because of Goku Black's involvement. Thanks to the time ring, this doesn't affect either Zamasu or Goku Black in the future. And with Beerus and Whis checking in on Zamasu, basically by default this means the present timeline is safe. Zamasu starts to heal Goku Black, but once Goku realizes exactly what's happening, he attacks. And Goku Black did get a good amount of healing from that, but not fully. His rage is overflowing too. This isn't what he planned, especially with him interrupting Zamasu's healing. To make things worse, Beerus and Whis now know about Zamasu's involvement. Goku Black tries to hold off Goku, and eventually transforms into his own new form. Well, it's not entirely new. He goes into Rosette, with his power being equivalent to Goku's. Even though his hair color is different, it pretty much is the same to him. Goku can tell the form is divine, but also is similar to his. It has that same red lightning around it. And it seems that it's growing with rage as well. The fight intensifies, and both continue growing during the fight itself. Goku Black is now growing much stronger, but Goku's also growing too. It's an unstoppable force versus an immovable object. Their clashes alone are threatening everything. Thankfully they're holding back with ki control, but still. This fight is putting everything at stake, and they're not even at their full potential yet. Goku Black is clearly on the losing end, and he's starting to get desperate. Goku's own growth is countering Goku Black's. Although Goku Black is still growing at an insane rate here. First of all, it's Goku Black, that's what he does normally. But it's combined with the fact that Goku's kinda like Broly in this scenario. So, if it wasn't already clear, this guy's growing like crazy. As that fight goes on, Zamasu tries to figure out what to do. He wants to go in and heal Goku Black because if he fully heals him, while Goku's wearing himself out too, that's gonna give Goku Black a clear advantage. Plus, Goku can't escape here like Trunks did. There's no time machine. Sure, he might be able to rip through space and time again, but it seems like Whis didn't want that, and maybe Goku will actually listen. Maybe. Point being, there's a high chance they can kill Goku here, but Zamasu just needs an opening. They also have one last resort, but he's not gonna jump to that right away. He's about to Kai towards Goku Black, but he feels a hand grab his arm. He turns back and is immediately met with a punch to the face, so strong that it snaps his neck on impact. Zamasu catches his footing, grabs his head, and puts it back into place, regenerating completely from this. The man says that was kind of freaky. Looks like this guy has some sort of regeneration. Zamasu's jaw drops when he realizes who it is, and Goku senses the energy enter the fight as well, and he's somewhat confused but mainly happy. There's an ally here. It's Kami. How did he get here? Goku Black stops fighting as well, confused as to how another person is here. This guy doesn't exist in this timeline. Kami knows that his future self never got involved and was able to help like this. So, to make it up to Trunks and everyone else in this timeline, as well as his future self, he's going to rectify that. Over the past few years, he's grown very knowledgeable, besides growing stronger too. Goku might be one of the strongest in the multiverse, if not the strongest. But Kami is one of the smartest people in the multiverse. His pursuit of knowledge led him to learn a bunch of new techniques. His magic has grown so potent he could hop timelines as well. He just had to locate Goku's energy, which wasn't really hard. That's kind of insane. Goku didn't realize he could be sensed from another timeline. But Kami says he has more tricks up his sleeve. He thought Goku might want some help, so he came along just in case. He also let Zamasu know that he won't be able to do anything any longer. Right about now, Beerus and Whis are talking with Gowasu and Zamasu. From his timeline, that is. He notices the time ring Zamasu has as well. None of that's going to affect him, and it seems like it's just these two that need to be defeated, so this should be a quick fix. Angrily, Zamasu teleports over to Goku Black, but Kami teleports him back to him. What, he's trying to heal his ally? It's not going to be that simple. Kami then shows him how simple it really can be, holding his hand out, healing Goku remotely and pretty much instantly, as well as fixing his clothes, of course. Goku's excited that Kami's here, as well as seeing these new techniques he has. He thanks him for the help, but he's got this fight on his own. Maybe he can handle that Zamasu guy. Kami says it's not a problem. So a fight between Zamasu and Kami breaks out. Zamasu attacks, but he's not fast enough or strong enough to do anything to Kami. Kami notes that he's definitely powerful by Akai's standards. He has studied and trained under Shin and Kibito for a bit as well, hence why he knows about things like the time ring, as well as everything else Zamasu is using in this fight. Zamasu forms a blade around his hand. Kami thinks that's pretty interesting. He copies that on a whim and uses it against Zamasu, slicing him in half, but he instantly regenerates. Interesting. Seems this guy's immortal. Zamasu, of course, is infuriated. Kami should know his place, especially him being a god attacking another god. He's so much lower in terms of hierarchy. Why is he acting like he could dictate everything? Kami could be asking the same thing. After all, he's Guardian of Earth. And look where they are right now. This is Earth. Maybe not the one from his timeline, but still, he's the Guardian of it. Years ago, before he was in his prime again, he always felt like he couldn't really do much. At a certain point, opponents became so strong that he couldn't do anything against them, even if he did want to help. The most he could do is provide support for everybody and maybe train them a bit. But now, with him having had this power for so long, he's come to really like what he's capable of. He could be a lot more proactive. He could protect Earth and the universe as a whole. And more importantly, he feels like he's making changes. And it's all thanks to Goku. It's definitely part of his influence and everyone else around him. Maybe Zamasu could learn a thing or two from him. Zamasu's a god fighting mortals, trying to destroy them in a misguided act. Kami is the one fighting for mortals, protecting them and ensuring that they grow, as is the duty of a god like himself. This fans the flames of Zamasu's rage even further. First this lowly god attacks him, and now he's lecturing him? Who does he think he is? Zamasu knows his physical and magical power can't do anything to Kami at this point, and Goku Black's gonna lose any moment now. But thankfully they have one last trump card. Kami was ready to seal Zamasu, and he then sees Zamasu swap his earring. Although, he keeps a cool head. He knows exactly what this is, and realizes that the two of them are fusing. Goku's about to land a finishing blow on Goku Black once more, but Goku Black is then pulled away, realizing that the fusion has begun. And he smirks. This is an act of desperation, but it's a good idea to do this right now. Zamasu and Goku Black combine, creating fused Zamasu. Goku then lands near Kami, and Kami explains what happened. Zamasu sends a bunch of attacks down to Goku, and Kami quickly throws up a barrier blocking all of them. Goku asks Kami why he's so calm, and Kami could say the same thing about Goku. Well, Goku's confident enough that he could fight this guy, but Kami lets him know that Zamasu is immortal. And with the two fused together, that means this fusion probably is partially immortal as well, if not fully. He's not entirely sure, but the reason he's pretty calm right now is because he knows how to undo this. He saw it coming too. He knows the Kais wear those Patara earrings regardless, but he thought Zamasu might get desperate and use that as a last resort. He tells Goku to watch closely. Amidst his training, he learned this on a planet called Yardrat. He lifts a hand up and then widens it, as if he's ripping something apart. As Zamasu's sending down even more attacks, he's then split into two again. Goku Black and Zamasu are back to normal. He tells Goku this is called Force Spirit Fission. He's been to Namek, the Sacred World of Kais, Yardrat, a bunch of places. There's even another method of fusion that he learned about from the Metamors, thanks to spending some time in Otherworld as well. Wow, looks like Goku has a lot to catch up on. His training under Whis has been great, but it looks like Kami has kept up a bunch. Especially in terms of knowledge, Goku thinks Kami's a completely different person. All that training and studying definitely paid off. Zamasu quickly tries to fuse again, confused as to what happened because that fusion should have been permanent. How did it just get undone like that? But as he fumbles for his earring, Goku then snipes it. Then does the same to Goku Black, breaking both Patara earrings. Goku then powers back up and goes to fight Goku Black once more. Zamasu has no clue of what to do, but before he can even act, he sees Kami generate a weird container in his hands, and then preparing a new technique. He tells Zamasu this container is actually made of kachin, definitely not something that will break easily, and he'll make sure it's in good hands once he finishes the sealing. Wait, sealing? What's he talking about? Kami then performs a Mafuba, perfectly executing it and sealing Zamasu away. He looks up in the air and sees two beams in the sky, one bluish green, and one with a hot pink color. Kami enjoys the fireworks as Goku's beam engulfs Goku Black's, creating a powerful explosion as they collide, and then Goku's beam swallows everything whole, destroying Goku Black's attack and Goku Black himself. Goku lets out some breath. He had to push himself a lot there, but it was a fun fight. He never actually figured out who Goku Black is, but Kami knows. He grabs on the container holding Zamasu in it, and reads all of his thoughts and memories. That's another Goku from another timeline. That kind of bums Goku out. So he just had to destroy his own body? Well, Kami says that's not even the worst of it. That's a Goku from an alternate timeline. And Goku narrowly avoided that future. The timeline Goku Black originally is from is beyond saving now. But Goku was able to save his own and protect Trunks' timeline, even if it's in bad condition. Kami teleports himself and Goku back to the past. But Kami tells Goku he should be more careful. If he's so strong that he could travel through time with sheer power alone, he really needs to watch how he uses his strength. And Goku kinda knows that. He kinda did that on a whim, and was surprised it worked. But it's more so a testament to how much he's grown as well. Beerus and Whis return, and Zamasu didn't do anything yet, but is now under watch by Gowasu. They know for a fact that Zamasu is involved, although this Zamasu wasn't filled in yet. Gowasu's gonna keep an eye out. Beerus and Whis also get the rest of the info from Kami. Beerus isn't really too fond of Kami traveling through timelines, but at least he did it the right way. He wasn't making a time machine, and he wasn't ripping open space-time with his bare hands. Plus, even though he's very low in the hierarchy, he is a divine being, so Beerus will look the other way. He traveled the right way, and he sort of has clearance for it. At least way more than Goku and Trunks do. Trunks enjoys his time back in the past too, and he's glad that Goku solved it that quickly. But Kami thanks him because if anything, Trunks saved this timeline too. Goku and Kami stopped Goku Black and Zamasu in the future. But without Trunks' help, they wouldn't have known about Zamasu in this timeline, and the same tragedy would have happened here. Trunks got to see Gohan a bit over this time too, and he admires how much Gohan's grown. He's kept up with his training, mainly thanks to Goku never dying here and the other Saiyans being around, but more importantly he's thriving. He has a family and he achieved his dream of being a scholar. It's a bit bittersweet for Trunks. It's a shame future Gohan never got to see this. He never got this far in his life, nor did he achieve his goals. More notably, he never got to tame that power. But this Gohan at least got to do that. He achieved his dreams, and he was able to take control of his life and his power. Even though future Gohan might have not made it, still, his influence is here. Trunks wouldn't be alive without him, and by extension, no one would be alive without Trunks coming back in time. Even though future Gohan died far too soon, he did die with a purpose. And Trunks is just glad his timeline is safe and he could return. Trunks thanks everyone once more and goes back home. The Tournament of Power is eventually announced. For Team Universe 7, it's pretty straightforward. Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, Nappa, Raditz, and Kami are the obvious choices to start with. Goten's also recruited to the team because he has a ton of power to back himself up, and Kami has been training him pretty well. We'll get more to that in a bit. Now we need two others, and it would probably just be easy choices like Krillin and Roshi. They don't really have any reason to go out of their way and recruit other people, so even though the androids are alive, and the fact that they could revive someone from hell, there's not really a need to do any of that. Especially the latter thing. They're just going to keep it simple because things are already pretty good on their team. Goku is really excited to see who exists in other universes because these are the strongest people in the multiverse here. Maybe he could finally find some sort of challenge. He's been looking for one for a while, and yes, he's had Goku Black and Cell as well, but both times that was him fighting himself. Two people that were just using his power, and it was risky. This is also risky because there's stakes here. The universe might be erased if they lose. But at least here it's not a deathmatch deciding the fate of everyone because if Goku ends up winning here, or anyone on Team Universe 7 for that matter, they could just revive the other universes. Kami spends most of his time fighting with Goten just to make sure he's doing alright. Kami himself is actually the third strongest person on the team, but as for Goten, he's pretty high up too. He's trained under Kami a lot because Goku's been away, and Kami is definitely a great teacher to be with. Their training has also helped Kami grow as well because Goten is really powerful as is, but more importantly, Goten is seeing a lot of growth. His power and potential is amazing, just like Gohan's. He's just less experienced than everyone else, so he needs to work on that skill and figure out how to utilize his power better. Kami of course has strength and technique. He's a pretty insane support on the team, and probably the most crucial part of the team. Even if he's only the third most powerful behind Goku and Gohan, consider what he's capable of. He could heal people, he could do other things with spirit control, he could utilize magic, he has his Namekian abilities, and he has also grown a lot stronger recently. After spending time with the Kais, he had trained with the Z-Sword a bunch, resulting in Elder Kai becoming free. He learned that Elder Kai can unlock more of his potential, and out of curiosity he went for this. Plus the fact that Kami also wants to be the best guardian possible. He doesn't care if he has to take a shortcut or whatever. His duty is towards Earth, and while he does like growing on his own and it's definitely more fulfilling, he can put that pride aside in favor of Earth. In the tournament, this new power awakened state is shown, but it's not even the full extent of Kami's power. He doesn't really get to show off much because, well, everyone else is showing off. First of all, the other three Saiyans, Vegeta, Raditz, and Nappa. Raditz has actually put his mind to growing much stronger, and he was the first one to evolve blue, doing so before the tournament. Vegeta is pretty much equal to Raditz, but Raditz continuously gets ahead, so Vegeta really has to keep up. Same goes for Nappa. The three of them are on relatively equal footing, pretty much relative to where Vegeta is in canon. But more impressive is Gohan, of course, because while he has no godly ki, being a hybrid Saiyan with the mutation of Goku, that kinda makes him ridiculous. He's the second strongest on the team with a big gap between him and third place, which is Kami, and also a decent sized gap between him and first place, which is obviously Goku. There's actually 3 people on this team that could fight Jiren right now. Goku, Gohan, and Kami. But Goku of course is the one to go for it. We'll be seeing a little bit more of Kami's power later on. Anyways, Goku fights Jiren, and Raging God is way too much overkill, so even just Super Saiyan God is enough in this fight. Yeah, even with full power Jiren, this is more than potent enough. So I won't bog you down on too many details because obviously Universe 7 wins. Goku and to an extent Gohan are way too overpowered for anyone to do anything here. Kami is very strong, but Jiren would pose a challenge to him. And then of course there's 3 people on the level of Vegeta in canon here. And you saw what he was capable of. Plus there's Goten who, even with less experience, he still is really strong. The team is really stacked to begin with, of course they're going to win. And all the other universes are revived because regardless of who gets MVP here, I think they would do that. If it's Kami, well, he'd see it as his duty to do something like that. If it's Goku, well, first of all, it's the right thing to do, but second of all, he'd probably see this as an opportunity to fight other people again. He also has multiple reasons to do this. Anyways, on to the next arc. Even though this scenario kind of is about Broly in a sense, for now there is nothing with Broly because there's no Frieza in the Tournament of Power. Don't worry, I didn't forget about him, he's just not going to do anything right now, because there's not really reason for him to be found. So, naturally we move on to the Moro arc next. Moro ends up escaping prison. The Galactic Patrol goes to Earth, realizing that their best bet at stopping Moro is going here. First of all, this is where Majin Buu was, and even though he's completely gone, they could at least find the person who killed Majin Buu because surely they're going to be a pretty strong person. And Jaco of course knows about the planet, so they decide to go there. Kami is currently on the lookout training with Goten, and even when they're not close to Earth, Kami could sense a ship approaching. He doesn't sense any threat with it, but he senses a bunch of relatively strong power together coming right towards Earth, so of course he's concerned. But more importantly, he feels a really weird presence among them. Like, the rest are clearly mortals, but there's something off about one of them. Goten wonders what Kami is focused on, but he'll see soon enough. Kami then starts to mentally communicate with everyone aboard the ship. Some of them freak out because a random person who's apparently a god is talking in their heads right now. Kami tells them to not be concerned, he's just wondering why they're coming here and what's going on. One of the patrolmen speaks up. It's Maris, the one who Kami sensed before who felt kind of strange. He learns they're coming here for a favor. There's apparently something wrong and they need help from Earth, specifically whoever the strongest warrior there is. Obviously that's Goku, and from what Kami knows, Goku is busy right now. He's on Beerus' planet and is still working on Raging God, growing ever stronger with that. He doesn't know when Goku's going to be back, but Kami will talk with these guys for the time being. There's also Gohan as an option, but he's probably too busy right now. Kami can get a hold of either of them if needed, but now he's curious. The Galactic Patrol coming here over some threat? It must be something pretty big, but maybe something that Kami could handle. But more importantly, he's interested in that guy Maris. As the ship arrives on Earth, Kami directs it towards the lookout, giving the patrol access there. Popo is pretty surprised, but he and Kami actually did extend the lookout. It's just strange to have so many people up here. Kami used to be so secluded. The one person that steps off the ship is actually Maris himself. Kami is immediately suspicious. This isn't the first time he's seen a divine figure covertly arrive on Earth. The Kais did the same thing, and he was able to tell pretty quickly, and that was when he was far less experienced. Maris plays it off for a bit, but they're the only ones talking to each other, and Kami can clearly see through what he's doing. It does surprise Maris. No one should be able to tell. And he knew before Maris even showed up close. He could tell something was weird about him. Also, Goten kinda knows now because Kami told him, but otherwise no one else knows. Maris is actually an angel in disguise. Anyways, Kami is told of everything and learns of Moro. Goten asks if he could help, but that would probably be a bad idea. And so would recruiting Goku for this. Goku could definitely defeat Moro. Like, there's no question about the fact that he has the power to do so. Kami has no doubt in his mind that Goku would be strong enough here. But at the same time, from what Maris is saying, Moro can absorb energy. So if things go wrong for some reason and Moro is able to trick Goku somehow, which is very unlikely but still is a possibility, that would make Moro so strong that he'd be nearly unstoppable. But more importantly, Kami tells Maris that he's the perfect counter for this. Kami closes his eyes, searching deep out into space, and then eventually locating Moro. Moro could feel that he's being sensed, but Kami isn't intimidated at all. He remains stoic. And he could tell exactly where Moro's headed to. Judging by the direction he's going in, he's going towards Namek. Kami says they can get there pretty quickly. So, besides Popo, everyone on the lookout is teleported to Namek, which ends up including Goten, but Kami tells him to not get involved, just watch. He doesn't want to put Goten at risk at all. The patrol is pretty disoriented because all of them just teleported to Namek for some reason. Kami does apologize, he kinda did that on a whim, but he knows that Moro was coming here, and this was the fastest way to get them there. Kami has been here before amidst his training and studies, but this time is different. Now Namek's at risk, and he's gonna do this himself. Not only is he the perfect fit for this job, but it's personal at this point. There's no doubt about why Moro is coming here as well. It has to be because of the Dragon Balls, like what other reason would it be? The Namekians are glad to see Kami again. Of course he's visited here before, but he explains why he's here and he tells them that they must hide. He doesn't want anyone getting harmed, so it's better safe than sorry. The threat's on the way here, but Kami's gonna stop it. A few hours later, Moro then touched down. They got here really early and Kami didn't realize it, but at least they're prepared. Moro could already tell that he was gonna have to fight Kami right when he got off his ship. So he steps off and the two face each other. Kami questions Moro. He's here for the Dragon Balls, isn't he? And Moro could tell that he's not dealing with the average person because first of all, Kami was able to send him all the way out in space and he clearly is powerful, not just in strength, but there's something else about him too. And it makes Moro wonder what his magic is like because he's a Namekian, and they have access to some magic, but it's usually not too potent. But he could tell this guy is different. A battle begins, and at first, it's magic versus magic. Although the thing here is, unlike Moro, Kami could back up his magic with physical power too. Moro can get physical power, but he doesn't have it right now. Moro is definitely a better magician here, and he commends Kami for what he's capable of. He hasn't seen a magic opponent like this in a while. He's not on the Grand Supreme Kai's level, but that's the only other time he faced an opponent in a magical battle where he actually was challenged. Kami stops holding back too when he figures out what Moro is all about. He tries to use the planet's energy to attack Kami with, but Kami just sends it all back. In terms of physical attacks, nothing Moro does works either. He even tries to absorb Namek's energy for himself, but Kami's able to stop it. And it confuses Moro because there's no way his magic should be overcome like this. And Kami says what he's doing isn't necessarily magic. He doesn't just have access to that. The planet is in perfect shape right now. No one is killed either. Kami tells Moro that he could do the exact opposite of what he does. Moro then sticks a hand out, desperately trying to take energy from Kami, but it doesn't work. His training on Yard Art with spirit control has really helped him, and he has used Force Spirit Vision in a battle before, but not like this. Last time it was to undo a fusion. This time, it's to prevent absorption. Kami's then able to drain all of Moro's stolen energy. He doesn't really have much at this point, but there still is some in there. And normally Kami doesn't do this, but given the fact that Namek is at risk here, and especially after seeing what Moro's capable of up close, he gives a show of force even if it's a little unnecessary. He does feel a bit angry about this. It's probably the Piccolo side of him. But that's also part of where his power came from. After getting his potential unlocked a while ago, he figured out a way to even go beyond that. A power that existed deeper within him emerged. Kami takes on a terrifying transformation. At least terrifying for Moro because he's on the opposite end of it. He grows much larger in size and, more notably, he's orange now. This is also the last thing Moro sees. He tries to take some of Kami's energy, but it doesn't work. Kami instantly stops it, and instead sends some energy to Moro another way. With a single ki blast, he eradicates Moro. Cranberry's nearby watching too, and he tries to escape, but as his ship flies away, Goten then flies through it, with the ship crashing to the ground nearby. Kami looks over at him, and then telekinetically lifts Cranberry out of the wreckage, freezing him midair, and then teleporting him over to Mayris and the rest of the patrol. They could deal with him and arrest him. The patrol is pretty speechless, especially Mayris. Kami is definitely an oppressive god, not just in terms of what he's capable of, but also his physical strength, of course. It's interesting seeing a god like this. Next up, we don't have the Granola arc because without Frieza, it's kind of business as usual, so we skim over that. But back on Earth, Goku wants to test out Gohan and Goten's power. He's going back and forth between here and Beerus' planet, but he really wants to see what his sons are capable of at this point. And the two brothers fight him together. Gohan has a full-powered version of Super Saiyan 2, while Goten's working with regular full-power Super Saiyan. But even though those forms seem kind of old in comparison to what Goku has, and the fact that they don't have God Ki, they're still really powerful, of course, for the reasons I explained before. Their power is overflowing, and when fighting together they can contend with Super Saiyan God Goku. Raging God is a challenge, but Goku is glad that they've grown, even if they can't defeat him at his strongest. And they're not done yet. They still have a lot of room to grow. Like, they haven't even gotten any new forms, so who knows what they could do next. And it does make Goku wonder if anyone else out there has power like him and his sons. But with this battle going on, Beerus of course senses it too, and feels like he's kind of overdue for a sparring match with Goku. He wants to fight him immediately and see how strong he's grown. Beerus doesn't want to fight Goku, but he decides to take a power nap first. He wants to be in top shape, so he's going to be sleeping for quite a while. That brings us to around the time Superhero is supposed to happen, and it still does happen here. But what's happened over this time? Well, first off, Nappa's getting old. His rapid aging has already begun, and now he's getting even older. It's kind of a shame. He never got to become the strongest Saiyan, but he did have fun along the way. He just really can't fight anymore. He can't keep up with the others. He started to notice this, and that's why he fell behind Raditz and Vegeta. Slowly but surely, he started to show signs of age. So, soon enough he stops fighting completely. And he gets ready to rapidly become an old man. Not really great, but still, at least he's on Earth. On the other hand, Raditz and Vegeta continue to grow. They'll never get beyond Goku's level, but they could still challenge each other. It's a shame that Nappa can't fight anymore. Well, he can, it's just not wise to. But at least they have their own rivalry amongst each other. Goku, of course, continues down his own path, not only working more with Raging God, but he also has something else up his sleeve. But let's go to Earth for a bit. The Gammas are created, and their first target is Gohan. Gamma 1 shows up to fight him one day, and pretty much instantly, Gamma 1 is defeated. At first, Gohan's not threatened by him, but then he becomes more of a problem when he tries to fight him. Although, Gohan can tell something's a little bit strange about this because this guy's a self-proclaimed superhero, and he doesn't really seem like a bad guy, but for some reason he thinks Gohan's a bad guy. That doesn't make any sense at all. But not too long after, Gamma 2 shows up, and at the same time, Kami and Goten then teleport in. Turns out Gamma 2 is actually looking for some other people. Mainly Goku, Vegeta, Raditz, whoever. He was actually going to look for Nappa, and he would have found him. Thankfully he didn't because Nappa couldn't fight him. The only reason he went for Gohan is because Gamma 1 stopped responding. So now he's here, but Kami and Goten also felt something going on. Gohan was fighting someone and they couldn't tell who. Although Kami could see everything from his lookout, and he could tell Gohan was fighting someone without ki, so maybe it's another android. He hoped that wasn't the case, but it is. Gamma 2 is ready to fight, especially after seeing Gamma 1 defeated, but Kami intervenes and tries to put a stop to it. The Gammas are superheroes after all, so Kami tries to reason with them. It takes a lot of convincing, especially after Gamma 1 just fought Gohan. But with Kami's own intelligence and strategy, he could sort this out. Meanwhile, back at the Red Pharmaceuticals base, Magenta begins panicking, because he could see all this happening. Dr. Hedo also realized that he was probably being misguided, and he kinda knew all along, and he just did this for the money. But now he's a lot more conflicted. Magenta isn't though. He knows exactly what he wants to do. The Gammas aren't working, so he wants to activate Cell Max. But Cell Max isn't even close to done. Especially since the Gammas fought once and instantly lost, there hasn't been much time that passed. Hedo's gonna need more time, but Magenta doesn't want to wait. He doesn't care if Cell Max isn't ready because, to him, it seems like this is the perfect time. He goes to activate Cell Max as everyone else holds Dr. Hedo back. But thanks to some help from Hachimaru, he is able to fight through the rest of the soldiers, becoming his own superhero. But it's too late. Magenta is able to activate Cell Max much earlier than normal. Everything's all settled with Gohan and crew, but the Gammas get a new communication from Dr. Hedo. He tells them to come back immediately. Cell Max has been activated. It was Magenta's fault. Hearing about this kind of terrifies Gohan and Kami because the name Cell Max instantly sets off alarms. You know, Red Ribbon Army, an android named Cell. Yeah, that's probably not going to go well. They're about to fly over, but Kami says there's no need. He could sense Cell Max's ki rising. So, he flicks his finger up, and everyone around him teleports over to the Red Ribbon Army base, including the Gammas. Very convenient form of travel, especially because they kinda needed to get here pretty quick. Thankfully, Hedo does know about the weak spot and tells the Gammas about this, so they need to work really quickly. At least Gohan, Goten, and Kami are on their side, because with their help, they might actually be able to win here, especially knowing his weak point. Gohan didn't really want to fight today, but you know what? He's up for a fight alongside his brother. It'll be cool to go full power for once, especially with those new allies on his side. The two power up and showcase pretty much the same exact form. Their hair is still green, but this time it becomes a lot longer. They never saw Goku use something like this, but now they have it. Since they peaked at full power Super Saiyan 2, they just call this Super Saiyan 3, and pretty much by default it was mutated for them. Weirdly enough, right when they got this, it was pretty much green-haired by default. Not that they're questioning it. It's really powerful, but it also drains really quickly. It's no surprise to Kami either, because he's the one training Goten. Although, the Gammas are pretty surprised because they didn't account for that. No wonder they lost so quick. And even if they were stronger, what the hell are they even supposed to do against this? Doesn't matter now though. Since Gohan and Goten's power's fleeting, they kinda do need to make this quick. And it's better to make it quick anyways, there's a giant raging kaiju out there. The Gammas and Kami act as the perfect distraction, able to fend off Cell Max for a brief period of time, while Gohan and Goten go for the weak spot. They'll need a powerful combined attack. And you know, this is pretty cool for Gohan. He gets to be kind of a superhero here. Same for Goten. So why not finish off with a flashy move? It's almost like two Saiyamen working in action. That's an interesting way to view it. The two go as high in the sky as possible, and then they say the word to Kami. First off, the Gammas each launch their own blast at Cell Max's head, stunning him for a bit. Kami then goes orange and uses all of his magic at once just to hold him in place. With Kami's strength right now, maybe he even could try and defeat Cell Max, but this is a safer option. With his power, he actually is able to hold Cell Max in place, as Gohan and Goten descend from the sky at rapid speeds. They launch downwards, back to back, each with a leg out, each propelling themselves with a beam as well, to make them go faster. And with full power Super Saiyan 3, they definitely have more than enough strength. They effectively turn themselves into bullets, flying right through the weak point on Cell Max's head, one-shotting him with their combined attack. Hedo tells everyone to run from the explosion, and thankfully Kami just teleports them all out of there, including Hedo too. The entire Red Ribbon base is destroyed in the process, including anyone who is unfortunate enough to still be there. But Kami got all of his allies out, including the Gammas and Hedo, and luckily enough, both Gammas survived this time. They're not really too sure what to do about Hedo, but he already recognized what he did wrong. And Gohan's not really worried about the Gammas causing any trouble. They clearly are good. They're superheroes. They were just manipulated and misguided. It wouldn't be bad to keep them around. But just as the fight ends, somebody flies over. It's Nappa, who's really winded just from flying here too. He sensed something crazy going on, and he wanted to get involved, but he knew he probably wouldn't have been able to do much. But he sees Gohan and Goten here, and he's more so pissed at himself that he missed out on that. He really wanted to see them fight at full power. Now Kami kind of feels bad. He could have teleported him here, but at least he could teleport Nappa back. But Nappa wonders what everyone else is up to, because it was only Gohan and Goten fighting here alongside Kami. While that's happening on Earth, what's happening on Beerus' planet, because that's where Goku, Vegeta, and Raditz are right now. Goku's preparing for his fight with Beerus because this one's supposed to be their ultimate battle. Goku really wants to see if he can beat Beerus this time. He doesn't know if it's possible, but he's of course going to try. Beerus has woken up from his nap not too long ago, and now he feels fully awake. Raditz and Vegeta are simply going to watch as spectators. And Whis is really curious too, because he honestly doesn't know who will become the winner of this fight. The battle begins. Goku doesn't transform, and Beerus doesn't show off any of his full power yet. But pretty quickly, they start to pick up the pace. And Goku also cycles through his forms, eventually working up his way to Raging God. This is when the battle starts to get really interesting because Beerus shows off more of his strength. Although they're still both holding back. Sure, they could finish this fight as quick as possible, but they really want to enjoy it. And they also want to see what the other's fully capable of. But Goku tells Beerus he's ready to go to full power. Beerus knows he's holding back, and Goku knows Beerus is holding back too. So, the two take some time to charge up fully. As for Beerus, he's actually charging power. He doesn't have any crazy transformation or anything, but his aura grows way more intense. He's surrounded by pure destructive energy, like a shield of sorts. Just his presence alone is terrifying. Vegeta and Raditz have felt nothing like it. They're in no danger, but they feel like they are just from feeling his full strength. Just from the pressure of the ki alone, they don't know if they'll ever be able to reach a level like this. Raditz wonders how close Kakarot is to it. But Goku goes into his own unique form. It's different from the normal forms he uses, especially because it's a form all about serenity. By now, Goku has tapped into Ultra Instinct. But there's a little bit of a difference about this one too. He's had it for a while, and he's learned the ins and outs of it. He develops really quickly after all. But he's also figured out that he can make his emotions work for him in this form, because usually he has to be emotionless. But at the same time, Goku's power does come from rage, so it got him thinking, is there a way for his emotions to work while in Ultra Instinct? He wasn't sure, so he started putting it to the test. And he doesn't have full mastery of it now. He's probably not even close to that just yet. But he could use the complete white-haired version of Ultra Instinct, and if he wants to use his emotions, he can go into the lower form of it, which is more flexible with his emotions and probably could be more powerful in the long run if he ever figures out the secrets to it. But think about what this would do for him. His power already comes from anger, and if he makes his emotions work in Ultra Instinct, that power is going to compound on top of itself. That's his thought process here, and Beerus is really impressed to see it. It's not the same as that white-haired form he's seen, but it's good enough for him. And while Beerus did power up, his power then condenses. He's fighting at 100% right now, but he also tries to use Ultra Instinct for himself. It's not great at the moment, and he doesn't have a perfect version of it either. But he can get to the frame of mind he needs to be in, and it's enough to help, but he's never really used this while also being at 100% power. He's kind of using two conflicting forces here, and he needs to figure out how to make them work in harmony. So, both of them are trying to use Ultra Instinct in their own ways with their existing powers. The two clash, and the second they make contact, Whis makes a barrier around Vegeta and Raditz. Although they still can't really keep up with what's happening either because it's happening so fast. They can kind of get bits and pieces of it here and there, but Goku and Beerus are on such a different level that their speed is even too much for them to keep up with. And that's just in terms of seeing it. This fight is great for both of them. Beerus finally gets to see the rival he knew he could find. All along he knew that Goku would be that rival, but it's great to finally fight against him and see that he has the power to actually contend with him. This guy will be his rival forever. Well, Goku doesn't know about that. He can't live forever. At least not as he is now, but he's feeling the same thing. For so long he's looked for a great rival, and yeah, Beerus was always there, but Beerus is always so above him too. Goku was always in a weird spot because he had such a huge gap in power with everybody else. It's just hard to find the same type of thrill when he has to handicap himself each time. And Beerus had to do the same for him, but now, the two of them are fighting as equals. The battle rages on, and for Goku and Beerus, the battle feels like it's going for a while. But on the outside, the battle only takes a few seconds. They exchange millions of attacks, and it's definitely the craziest battle they ever had. Just to make sure things don't get too crazy, just as they exchange all those blows, Whis brings them to the World of Void to continue fighting, bringing Raditz and Vegeta along with him. But a few moments later, the fight finally ends. And even though it was only a few seconds in real time, even Vegeta and Raditz are amazed too. Vegeta comments on it, those few seconds, They felt like an eternity of combat. It was like nothing he ever experienced, and he was just watching from the sidelines. And the winner is revealed. Goku comes out victorious, although only just barely. Beerus is unconscious, and Goku is pretty badly beat up. But even Goku thinks that fight could have gone either way, because Beerus was growing during battle. So was Goku, though. And can't wait to see how much more Beerus grows in the future, because the two of them are going to continue pushing each other as rivals. What Beerus wanted is what Goku wanted too. They each have the perfect rival to fight with. But our story doesn't end here. By chance, the Galactic Patrol finds someone strange one day. Kami is contacted by Maris. He's not sure why. The Galactic Patrol has no business with him. And Maris wasn't really sure who else to tell about this, but he knows that on Earth they have a couple Saiyans there. Okay, why is he asking about that? Well, that's because he thought there were no Saiyans left, and there's actually one more that he found. This kind of puts Kami on alert. There's another Saiyan out there? That makes no sense, they're all dead. Well, clearly not. The reason he's alerted is because Saiyans tend to be dangerous. Not the ones on Earth, but from what they know, the Saiyans are ruthless warriors, so Kami wonders if this is the same case. That's why Maris contacted him. The Galactic Patrol didn't actually come in contact with that Saiyan yet, and they want to make sure they have someone who could handle it. Because if he is dangerous, they don't want to send a Galactic Patrolman down there to die. But for all they know, he might need help because he's on a deserted planet that isn't really a good environment to live on. So they kind of need to do something. They're only watching from a distance now. Kami has an idea of who to send there, and who would probably like to see him. On a faraway hostile planetoid called Vampa, Kami teleports in one day with Goku, and they find the Saiyan that's here. He's completely alone. He actually seems pretty nice, weirdly enough. They didn't really expect this right away. That's why Kami brought Goku in, basically like defusing a bomb. So Goku asks a bit about the Saiyan, and learns his name is Broly. He was actually here with his father, but he died not too long ago because of old age. And the more Goku talks to him, the more he learns that Broly seems pretty gentle for Saiyan standards. Out of curiosity, he asks if he could spar. Broly doesn't even realize that Goku's a fellow Saiyan until he mentions it. And that puts Broly on alert because he was taught to hate the Saiyans. Goku didn't think that would piss him off, but now it looks like he has to fight anyways. He's sure he can calm this guy down. Although, it's weird. The way he's getting angry and the way he's growing stronger from that anger. It feels kinda similar. They briefly battle, and Goku doesn't transform, but he feels like Broly has the same type of power as him. Like they have the same exact type of mutation. What are the odds of that? He's always wondered if someone else like him was out there, and it looks like he finally found him. Pretty much right after he just had the fight of his life with Beerus. And this really gets him excited. He might have just found a new rival, someone who could actually contend with him just like Beerus does. But that's definitely going to take a bit of time. The least they could do is take this guy back to Earth because clearly he shouldn't be here. But Goku's pumped up. All I can think of now is the great fights he's going to have with Beerus, and with this new guy, Broly. Wondering if he really does have the same type of potential as him. Looks like there's only one way to find out. And with that, we end off this series here. What'd you guys think about the story? Hopefully you all enjoyed. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps with the channel and shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting the scenario all the way through, and I'll see you all in my next video.